Hello and welcome. This is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. This channel evaluates all aspects of true crime. As you are aware, videos and live streams in this genre often discuss elements of crime that may be disturbing to some viewers. If necessary, take the precautions needed to avoid these feelings. Factual information related to cases is the key to fostering rational true crime discussions. Fortunately, you will find that here. Please hit the like button only once, share the video, and subscribe if you like my content. Thank you very much for watching.
Huh? It's a house!
Man, I don't know what the hell's going on with the clips over here. Alright, well, there you go. Not sure what's going on with the music. There we go. Just have it on low, I guess. Everything sounds different when you use StreamYard. Doesn't sound the same. Maybe right there. Can you guys even hear me? Oh. Oops. Can you guys hear me now? Testing 1, 2, 3. I just realized there's no audio. Somehow it didn't get connected. Can you hear the music and everything? You can hear me now though, right? Okay. Yeah, I rebooted my computer with there was like an update on Windows, and there must be something nefarious about it though. Wait, did you hear that, Gray? They updated his computer. He's trying to hide something. Oh man, these people. It's embarrassing. Not to me though. Let me switch over to that one, then over to here. Yeah, there we go. Well, what's going on, everybody? Thought we just do like a, sort of a question, just like a conversation type show, where people are asking questions and, answering things regarding, any case really that we're doing. There's somebody did send me something that was kind of a weird thing going on, or body that was found in Columbus, Ohio, and it was at this abandoned car wash. And apparently there was like a car in there with a body inside the vehicle. So I'll take a look at that really quick. That says, the Columbus, Ohio, the death of the man whose body was found badly decomposed inside an abandoned car has been ruled a homicide. Hey, thanks, Cindy Lynn. But Gray, why are psychic? Yeah. Well, oh, by the way, Blue's sort of a weird situation with Blue, because like today, he ate his food and his medicine, and he kind of following me around in different places, and but it just he doesn't seem very happy, But it's like there's got to be a point where you kind of go. I don't know. I think Monday we might take him in or something. I don't know. We'll just see. But it's just what a shitty. I was thinking maybe today, but then he was like running around and not running, but like skirting along, and following, waiting for a morsel to fall off. Like he used to do. Well, he does that kind of on occasion, so I'm not really sure what to make of it. But I definitely don't want to keep him alive like I did with Lily, where for 2 years. I had a dog. She was 17 when she died, but like the last 2 years, it was just like medication, and she just wasn't very happy. And, you know, every night peed in her bed, and I had to clean it up, and, you know. And so I think that was just kind of like, yeah, I wouldn't do that again. So he hasn't been that point for that long currently. Yeah, it was cool over there. You know, what I don't like, though, is like these YouTubers are so concerned about letting people say whatever they want all the time that they allow these troll YouTube. I have this one troll YouTube channel, and that's really, it was made up by like an ex-moderator and some other people, and they're almost like stalkers who travel around everywhere I show up. Somebody says, "Oh, Gray's over there," and then they show up and they start talking, and then they, you know, it's like, it's just really, it's disgusting what they do. You know, I have my channel, they don't like me, so they just attack me every single day on a specific YouTube channel, and then also go out and, you know, have a, you know, on social media, try to discredit and affect me. But, you know, I'm just doing what I'm doing. You know, if you guys like the truth in cases, then this is where you go. You know, we have conversations over the year. Now they're going back to all my old Delphi ones and trying to find where, you know, like we talked about a long time ago about how, you know, I thought the person was familiar with Delphi, but they likely didn't live there because somebody would have recognized that person. You know, that's what I said in the video. Doesn't that seem logical? And then even after Richard Allen was discovered, I understand why people didn't recognize him. Because he's not like this really popular person, and he doesn't look like, on a day-to-day basis, he doesn't look like the bridge guy. So, and he's short. He's like a small guy, so people just didn't think that. Now, the only person I think that might have thought it would have been Kathy Allen, right? That's it. She might have seen him, but because he said he didn't go on the bridge. See, that's an interesting. You know what's an? I just thought of it just now. You know when she says, "You didn't tell me you were on the bridge," but she knew he was on the trails. So that means she saw the picture of him and thought, you know, that kind of looks like him. That kind of looks like him. But then he said he wasn't on the bridge, so she let it go. That's why she's questioning him on that. Because why would it matter, really, right? You said you were on the trails. You didn't tell me you were on the bridge, right? Because that means she would have been like, okay, that was him. I just thought of that just now. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know anything about that case. All right, anyways, this one right here, it says, the death of a man whose body was found badly decomposed inside, and by the way, thanks Employee of the Month, and Cindy Leon. Hi, Gray. Well, let me click on over here. Hi, Gray, I'm too shy to call in, but I've wondered what jobs, careers you have had. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll answer that one in just a minute. I'll go through this one and I'll go right back to that. All right? I mean, yeah. And the thing is, I get a lot of heat from people on YouTube, and I know it bothers people, you know, because I try to raise, you know, on a nightly basis, try to bring in funds to help support the channel. And I like to bring in more money in a month so that I can give away part of it, you know? That's the thing. Like, if I wasn't able to do that, like bring in a certain amount, like I wouldn't, like let's say I brought in $7,000 in a month, I probably wouldn't be able to donate anything, because after YouTube takes away the taxes, that's just sort of like, you know, it's not even that great, really. I mean, with the economy and everything. So, you know, I try to bring in as much as I can so that I can actually, and I try to make the videos, and, you know, I try to get people to send in super chats. You know, that's just the way it is, you know, and it does get frustrating sometimes, some nights. So, you know, you guys see me every single night, sometimes 2 times a day. And, you know, so if I'm in a bad mood, you see that. If I'm in a good mood, you see that. If I'm in a medium mood, you see that. I just can't pretend to be something. I'm not an actor. Oh, wait, I was, because I was in the Kanika Jenkins case. I was actually the security guard. See, this is how crazy these people are out here. They sound exactly like in the Kanika Jenkins case. the same crap, but I was a security guard at the Ground Plaza Hotel. I was the 911 operator. I was this other guy over here. It was like 5 different things. And that's exactly what these clowns are doing in the Delphi case. And usually when it happens is somebody that knows more than they do. Like the thing is, I've been around for a long time, you know. I would say Fig Sauls actually has better connections and behind the scenes than I do. But, you know, I've talked to, well, I mean, he has different sources, I guess you could say, but some of the ones he has have sort of better contacts. I knew the family, or know the family during this case. I know, basically, you know, I've talked to investigators there over the years and stuff. But, you know, other than that, you know, but the thing is, you have to be around. Like, I actually communicated with somebody early on who knew intimate details of, like, the investigation regarding the crime scene, etc. And it's interesting because, you know, now I know who that, you know the association of that person, and it was great, you know. I mean, it was great to have that insight information. All of us knew that there was very little DNA and information at the crime scene, if anything, related to the killer from the very beginning. But just because you don't have those connections doesn't mean I'm part of some secret cabal being paid off by the family and working. I mean, this is so, yeah, they actually say that I work for the family and I get like a check to spread a certain story. Think how stupid that is, you guys. It's one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life. But it's not uncommon in that arena of YouTube. That type of mentality, the people that watch those shows, like The Prof and Slow Joe and True Crime Design, those kind of people, the people that watch those are low caliber human beings. Okay? So those are the ones that believe in those types of conspiracies. How dare you, Gray? Maybe they just like it. Well, that's what I'm saying. That's like, you know, you are a disgusting person if you watch those channels. I'm just telling you right now, okay? And you don't have to agree. You can go watch them, and I'll always believe you're a disgusting person. And people know what those guys talk about also agree that you're a disgusting person. Well, Gray, I sometimes watch because I think... No, you're a disgusting person, all right? And that's just the way it is. Deal with it. It's sick. All right? All right. Great. Cool. Hey, thanks, Chicken Wing. You said, let's see. Thank you, Gray, for making videos for us even when it's hard. Yeah, it's, you know. I didn't really sleep. I haven't slept very good the last couple nights. You know, I'm just kind of... I have to get up thinking about Blue, you know. Sucks. He's the first dog that I've felt like that kind of connection with, you know. I've had other dogs, you know, and they were more just like dogs or something. I don't know. You know what I'm saying, right? There's sometimes you have a better bond, and Blue is that one where it's just like, you know, like I said, the first time we met, he just ran up out of nowhere into the house. We were just meeting him for the first time. He jumped up on the couch into my lap and then tucked his head underneath my chin. And I said, we'll take him. All right. It was amazing, you know. But, well, we still got him for a few, I don't know how long, a couple days maybe. I was thinking of doing a members only live stream or something so you guys can maybe see him one last time or something. If you'd be interested. I mean, he's still, you know, still cute sitting there or whatever, but he's just not very happy. Yeah. Anyways, let me try to get through this one here, okay? In October, the Franklin County Coroner's Office said it identified Christopher Coleman. It's actually a white individual, 53 years old. I think he was maybe even, like, I saw he has a massive record But it's all stuff like he was trying to solicit funds, off the street. So I thought, okay, it's panhandling. That's probably what he was doing. Then it says, according to recently released autopsy report, Coleman, 53, who was pronounced dead in the 1500 block of Holt Road, died of homicide. The report stated that Holman was found with his hands bagged. Now, was that because they were bagged because law enforcement got there? We've seen that in other cases where they just noticed it, reporters, and go, oh, his hands are bagged. But, that sounds like something law enforcement would do to protect anything. Welcome, Poppy and Cheryl Bullock. Thank you. Yeah. All right. So the Columbus police confirmed that Coleman's death is being investigated as a homicide. Coleman was alive as recently as 1 month before his death when he was charged with disorderly conduct and appeared in Franklin County Municipal Court. The fingerprint used to identify Coleman were matched with those taken on September 11th, 3 days after his arrest. The former superwash business where Coleman was found had a chain link fence surrounding the property and has been abandoned for years. His hands bagged, a belt around his neck, blunt impacts to his head with skeletal and soft tissue injuries, facial and scalp lacerations, and that his genitals, that part is crazy, his genitals had been removed after he died. So what in the hell's going on here, you guys? I mean, that sort of, this little last comment here turns it into a much sort of different kind of story, right? Now, but the other one, it looks like, okay, he was, strangled, etc., but then all of a sudden we get to a point where his genitals were removed after he died, even? That's a little weird. Coroner's office identifies man, and it says, the Franklin County Coroner's Office has identified a man found dead in an abandoned car wash on Columbus Southwest Side. Christopher Coleman, 53, was identified using fingerprints. Let's see, he was found in a car wash bay at the former Superwash car wash at 1654 Holt Road. But that, I mean, it's this one right here. So I wonder why they let it abandon and didn't just keep it as a car wash. But yeah, I mean, I guess it was inside one of these bays here. Officials have not been able to determine Coleman's cause of death due to the level of decomposition. Well, I mean, you've got plenty of things you could, add together, I'm sure. Police have not said how they believe Coleman died or how his body was discovered at the car wash. A spokesman for the Franklin County Coroner's Office said details about the cause of death won't be released until the autopsy is completed. He has there's like an address associated with him, and not really that far away. It's just right here. It's kind of interesting because remember that Beitelman case that we did? It's like the same town. But he lived right there at one point. It's not really that far. But he's basically a homeless person. Let's see what the Fox News article said. There's one more here. Says, the Franklin County Coroners announced on Friday that fingerprints helped identify the body. This is him right here. That's his picture. A man whose body was found badly decomposed inside an abandoned car wash has been identified as 53-year-old Christopher M. Coleman. He was reportedly alive as recently as a month ago. The fingerprints used to identify Coleman were matched with those taken on September 11th. Alright, so there really isn't much, but there's a picture of him right there. Then we have the autopsy had just come out, so that's good. I was able to find him on Ben Verified. He has like literally 100 different things. Hold on a second. Yeah, I gotta take. I was outside earlier, and then I just realized I was really getting hot there. So it says right here, he had. You guys want me to go? I can go through some of this if you want. Blunt impacts to the head with skeletal and soft tissue injuries, lacerations of face and scalp, fracture of facial skeleton and skull. I guess the left part of the skull, basal skull fracture. Postmortem excision of external genitalia. I mean, Jesus. Postmortem toxicological ethanol. So you had 0.125. So it's like, you know, legal limit and a half. Reported history of alcohol and major depressive disorder. Atherosclerotic coronary artery disease. Left anterior descending coronary artery, 60%. So he wasn't doing too well regardless. External examination of the body is viewed initially clothed and photographically depicted. The body is that of a well-developed, well-nourished male whose appearance and facial features are distorted and are obscured due to the decompositional changes. The body weighs 128 pounds and is 68 inches in length. Does it like 5'8". The body is cold to the touch. Rigor is past. The lividity pattern is indiscernible. Identifying tags, bracelets, or labels are checked and correct. Identification is confirmed via fingerprint comparison. The hands are bagged at 1.5 inches. So there you go. All right, well, let's see. 1.5 inches in width portion of a brown belt. Let's see. The hands are bagged. The hands are bagged. Okay, but that seems like maybe they did that. A 1.5 inch width portion of a brown belt with a metallic buckle and an apparent torn distal end loosely encircles the neck. Jeez. It is unbuckled when viewed and partially overlies a red-brown stained light-colored t-shirt that covers the face. Wow, so it's like it was pulled up over his face. Now, separately received in an unsealed clear plastic bag is the apparent counterpart. It is a portion of brown belt with 7 buckle holes, a tapered distal end, and a apparent torn proximal end. The left leg hole of a pair of blue Michael Adams underwear is around the left ankle. Each foot ankle has on a white sock with blotchy red staining. The clothing and belt items are collected and submitted. The hands are photographed and processed according to established protocol. Right, so they took the bags off and, hey, thanks, Sammy Day. There are post-mortem changes of decomposition, abdominal bloating. I think I'm going to skip past all that. A 3 to 2 inch laceration is on the right parietal scalp without underlying fracture or visible marks on the, let's just see, laceration, 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 another laceration, laceration. Those are like cuts, you know. Upon removal of the calvarium, green discolored of the left half of the dura is noted. So that's under the brain. I mean, looking at the brain. Upon reflection, that means you take the bone part of the scalp and then you look underneath to see if there's bruising underneath there. Upon reflection of the dura, completely liquefied brain is encountered. So that means he was very decomposed in there. There are no discernible collections of epidural, subdural, or intraparenchymal. I don't know how to say that word. Following a removal of the dura of the basal skull, a linear, slightly oblique fracture extends through the bilateral middle cranial fossa. Somebody just bashed him in the head. So right here it says a 15-inch by 1.5 inch circumferential area of skin with minimal decompositional changes courses over the right anterior and right lateral aspects. I think this is around like the neck, you know, like a strangulation mark. The superior edge of the area ends abruptly along a line of decomposition that extends superior over the face. A layered, and then it says, there is no fracture of the hyoid bone. Say that 3 times fast. Hyoid bone. You can't do it. If you say you can, you're a liar. That's not fair, Dre. I said it one time and you... Okay. The anterior aspect of the cervical spine is intact. Right upper extremity, a 1.5 half-inch laceration with adherent dried red-brown materials on the medial proximal palm, maybe a defensive wound. The injuries above, once having been stated, will not be repeated below. He'd eaten something that was like potatoes. You know, they said. Maybe he had fries or something. The brain is completely liquefied, precluding further examination. Yeah, so I don't know, man. This guy just got absolutely obliterated by somebody. I mean, I know he, like, as a homeless guy, I could, you know, you understand somebody getting in a, being killed or something, just some crazy, you know, he's a criminal himself. But I mean, this guy got strangled, bashed in the head. I mean, it sort of reminds you a little bit of Mercedes Vega, you know, just that level of depravity. And then they cut off his sexual organ, you know. I mean, unbelievable. So anyway, something to follow. Maybe we'll get some updates on it, see what the hell happened. That sounds like a little bit more than just somebody. I mean, what would be the point of that? And you know what's weird about it? It sounded like the shirt was pulled over his head, right? Like his shirt was pulled over his head, right? So what was that about? That almost seems like a sexual encounter with somebody. Like they pulled it over his head, then strangled him, and then they cut off his genitalia after he died. Crazy, huh? Well, anyways, there's that. There's that. Okay. All right, so here's the, the employee of the month. Ask me. Hold on. Oh, my Blazers got a good win in Houston tonight. That was good. I like that. Got killed against the same team yesterday. What the hell is a gigawatt?
Gigawatts. What the hell is a gigawatt?
I guess it's a gigawatt. Hey, look at that. Bama girl. Get the membership to Bogart. Alright, so the question is, hi Graham, too shy to call in, but I have wondered what job careers you have had. Man, I don't know if I've ever really had a, like, quote, career. I mean, I guess, yeah, I mean, I guess so, you know. In the, like, SEO, I write code using Python to, like, that's I create little automations for a company. So I've been doing that, I guess, since about like 2007 for 2 different companies. So I guess that would count. But let's see. I guess most people want to know, like, how did I end up doing what I'm doing now? Is that kind of what you're trying to figure out? I mean, it's just so interesting to me. My dad was an artist named Bill Hughes. You can look him up on the internet. Southwest Art, really great artist. But I wasn't really particularly artistic, and he died in 1992, I believe. And it was in a small town called Safford, Arizona. Or Stafford, Arizona. I think it might be just Safford. I can't remember, but small little town. He built a house just for painting. Anyways, he painted all these amazing paintings, and then he died but nobody even knew we existed because he and we hadn't seen him for, gosh, I don't know, 20-something years. I mean, he just totally never paid child support or anything. He just left. He just wanted to do his art. He was really a shitty dad, but great artist. Got to give him that. So, I mean, then I remember after he died, we got some paintings and pictures of paintings, and then I would sit there and I would use like this program called Microsoft Paint, and I would sit there and I would paint the entire paintings, you know, just kind of mixing colors and and I started seeing how like depth is created by shadows and light and stuff like that. I mean, it's amazing how it just pops off the screen just by putting a shadow there and something there and a bing, bing, bing. So I would just kind of copy some of this stuff, and then I thought, ooh, wow, maybe I'll... Then I started doing 3D. I got this 3D program, and it was kind of cool. And then like 94, I got a program called Poser and another one called Ray Dream 3D Studio. And I started doing like cool little animations for this bank that I worked at for their presentations. So I started making these little movies basically with animations, and it was sort of cool. And yeah, I don't know. There's just times where you're struggling around. So I think after that, what happened after that? I went to the Art Institute for Animation and Media Arts, and I learned how to use all the different programs, Maya and 3D Studio Max, but I was already pretty good at animation before, so I was able to kind of pick it up pretty quick. And I was at the Art Institute for 2 years and was on the dean's list the entire 2 years, and then I said, oh man, I can go do this. So I started my own videography company where I would do, you know, film weddings and do the slideshows with the animations and everything. I did that, but I didn't charge enough at the beginning. It was weird. And then later I figured that out, but then I kind of was doing that, and then my friend says, hey, we need somebody to do what you used to do with this programming stuff at this SEO company. So then I started writing all these programs, doing stuff, and I was working there for a while, and then they had layoffs at some point. Then after that, just, you know, my friend, boss, I guess you call him, but he's been a friend since grade school, he moved to another company and then got me to go over there, and I've been there ever since. Doing the same thing, but at a higher, way higher level. I use like Python and stuff like that. But back in, I'd say 2013, during the Jodi Arias case, that's when I sort of merged the two worlds together. So I was always doing like just my own stuff on the side, but then I went and I, you know, using the skills that I'd learned, I made the entire bathroom and bedroom set in the Delphi, I mean, not in the Jodi Arias case. So it was like the bedroom, the bathroom, the shower, all that stuff. And there was all these photographs taken. So after I built these models, I was able to show people exactly where each image was taken in the bathroom and the bedroom, etc. I mean, it was just like, it was so clear. And I tell you what, if I was doing that today, I would have been on HLN every single night, every second of if they knew that I was doing it. But these guys didn't look for anybody else. They just did their own little crazy reenactments in their studio, and it was just a joke comparatively. I had this model that was the exact replica, even down to each tile that was on the floor. They photographed through the hallways, and I would take the tiles and place them right where they're supposed to be. I mean, it was crazy. So I had the whole thing, and I just used it a lot and showed people, and people were like, wow, that's crazy. And then a prosecutor in New York, in Brooklyn, he saw, or somebody recommended, there was a case where an elevator, this guy was so reckless at a hospital, he was trying to fix the elevators, he turned off the mechanism that made the elevators cannot move if the doors are open. He turned it off because he wanted to go fix something, And, you know, hell, all these different floors, you can see video where the elevator is open and it's moving. I mean, it's so dangerous, it's incredible. But then there's one lady who steps on and she falls over and her leg gets stuck out and it pulls her leg up through the gap, that little gap between the elevator and the door. I mean, all the way up to the 8th floor in that building. So anyways, they got me and I recreated the entire thing, animation, and they flew me out to New York, etc. That was cool. And then after that, I started doing that a little bit more. You know, then I think the McStay case I covered quite a bit for a while. Then, you know, just cases would show up. And then the Delphi case came up, and then I really started using that stuff again, and it just kind of keeps going and going and going and going. Over the years, I use it. So there you go. So, but anyways, you guys, I know it's just kind of a random night talking here, but if you feel like you want to help support the channel, that would be great. Thank you. Look at that, 57 months from Zozo and Bama Girl 41. Get to the membership. All right. So anyways, that's kind of the whole, you know, there's probably more stuff in there somewhere, but just in general. And I've been doing live streams on YouTube since like mid 2017, maybe late 2017. And when I started, there was maybe 3 or 4 of us total. And I've covered thousands of cases. I guess that's what the problem is. Had I stuck with just 4 or 5 of the really big ones for all those years, I probably have 300,000 subscribers, and you know. But the thing is, I think true crime, yeah, there's some cases you cover more than others. Like I've covered Delphi more than others, but we've covered thousands. I mean, there's been months where I'm not talking about Delphi, and we go over all these old cold cases that nobody's touched, and you can't do that anymore, unfortunately. You do a night like that, and you're not gonna. You get like 120 people watching. Because they're just like so, oh, and then somebody's going to do a live stream on Delphi or something. And it's just really frustrating. And I am a white male, so I'm not going to be pumped up by YouTube at all. I'm in the last, especially if they connect that to my political channel. Oh God, I'm screwed. So I actually feel like there's a connection there. Somehow, don't you think it's amazing to have 150,000 subscribers and you go live and you get 200 people watching? Is that even possible almost, you know? Yeah. Anyways, what do you guys have for questions? You know, if you want to help support the channel with the super chats with the questions, that'd be the best way to get it on there so we can go over them. Right, but if I had 10 viewers and they have the right kind of viewers, is that really going to help the channel? I don't think so. I think he did, yeah, at the Alterman Gallery, yeah. That sounds familiar. Yeah. That sounds familiar. Like, if you looked him up, I wouldn't be shocked if he was in that one. That name sounds familiar too. You still got paintings that float around out there. Yeah, this could be a real short show, you guys. Nobody's typing, nobody's commenting, nobody's doing anything. Not sure what to do. I can see that the chat's barely moving. Oh, come on. You don't have a painting of his. What's it called? What's it called? I bet I have, if you do have it, I have a... I like the adrenaline rush from being put. It was just, I don't know what that means, Timothy. Hey, thanks, Kami. What are your thoughts on the Idaho 4 keeping death penalty? Well, I think it's great. Yeah. The death penalty on the table is really valuable in that case because There is no doubt, just like in the Delphi case, that Brian Koberger is the killer. Gray, what about innocent until proven guilty? Right, well, I know. That's how it works in the courtroom. I'm just telling you, based on my experience, which you might not think is worth a shit, but I think it's worth a hell of a lot, because I've been doing this for a long time now. You know, we're talking 11 years, and I've covered thousands of cases. And, you know, if you don't want to believe in what I'm doing, then don't watch. I don't give a shit. Okay, I'm never going to cow down to your belief just because you believe something, because you feel like believing it. I look at the information in the case, and if it makes sense, you know, then we go that direction. Yeah. Yeah, what's the name of the painting, Jay? They usually have names, you know. Or if you can, take a picture of it and send me an email, and I'll say, oh yeah, I've got that. I mean, because I have the photographs of a lot of them. Right, I think Ann Taylor's wishing she had not asked to change the venue. Because this new judge isn't going to goof around, and he's way more serious. So they screwed up on that. Well, I think in some ways she might have been trying to push it towards that. Because I think this judge has a good chance of getting Koberger to plead guilty at some point. Because this case is, I think Ann Taylor's even been sort of like, dude, what? It's a snow mountain top with water below. Yeah, it sounds like something he would do, you know. He had some earlier paintings, and then later ones look real, like it looked like a photograph. What do you mean, be careful what you... Yeah, exactly, yeah. Yeah, Idaho 4 is way more of a slam dunk than the Delphi case, even though that one was a slam dunk. It's like, yeah, this one's a slam dunk, but the Idaho 4 case is even more so. It's like if you went, okay, 10 out of 10 is Richard Allen guilty, yeah. What is Idaho 4? Well, it's a 12 out of 10. It's like, it's just overkill. He's like literally absolutely 100% the guy. Now, could there again be the possibility of nutjob conspiracy theorists that somehow get onto the jury? Yes, that is possible. I have to admit. I think, my opinion is it was Madison Mogen is who I believe. Oh, you got it for a gift? Ah, cool. But it just says Bill Hughes, all right? That's what the sign is. He signs it like that. Or sometimes B. Hughes, or... I've already said what my father's first name was. No, it's not Patrick Hughes. It's Bill Hughes. I have a ton of his paintings. I've showed them on my show multiple times, like late night when people are just... Would love to rewatch Election Night on RGB. Yeah, that was pretty fun, wasn't it? Yeah, you can just go watch it. Isn't it there? That was a 6-hour show. That was fun. Sunshine Susie said, did they find out what really happened to Caleb Harris? You know, that's interesting. I don't know if they've ever really had an update on that. I can't, that's what, you know, that instance in that case is similar to Delphi. Like, somehow Keegan Kline's not related to the, you know, it's not related to Richard Allen. And then in that case, you would say somehow the fact that he's on, like, Reddit trying to hook up on a date and actually says, hey, meet me over here. And it was like that night at 12, you know, and he somehow disappears off the face of the earth in some crazy way. I don't know, man. I think there's somehow, some way, somebody he was meeting up with is how he got into the system. Maybe he did a drug or something, an overdose, and the person put him somewhere. Something like that. I have a theory. It might not be so crazy. Some of the let me just get rid of this other chat box. If you use the one inside StreamYard, it's pretty effective. You have like in the house cameras? Yeah, try to do it. Some of the conspiracists are getting bored after this much time, plus venue change. More of a slam dunk in my. Well, no, they just switched over to Delphi, every one of them. The exact same conspiracy nutjob people are going to, they're going to switch right over to Brian Koberger, and they're going to try to pretend, just like they've already been doing prior to Delphi, that he's not guilty. I mean, of course he's not guilty currently, but he is the killer of those the victims in that house. Xana Kernodle, Ethan Chapin, Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez. Sexual, Mike. Yeah. I think his original motive was probably a sexual motivation. Could also be that he hates women because he's always rejected by them, and he went in there to kill. I think he would watch Madison Mogan outside her window a lot. You have a perfect view from there. Kaylee's isn't a good view. You'd have to be way over on the left side of that upper parking lot, and then maybe you could see in at an angle. Where Madison Mogan, you can see straight into her room from outside in that parking lot if her windows were open. And so I think that's what he was doing. He was after Madison Mogan. Yeah, one of the things I think in the Koberger case is, you wonder about, like, did he leave? We've talked about it many times. Did he accidentally leave the knife sheath, or did he leave it there as a calling card and he was going to always leave the, it's kind of interesting, right? K-bar, Koberger, like maybe he was going to leave a knife sheath at every one of the scenes of future killings. And he went out of his way to clean it, but he missed cleaning the spot right underneath the button on the knife sheath. Yeah, but the leaving it there accidentally fits into the other theory that I have about he goes in there, kills Madison Mogan, Kaylee Gonzalez, and comes down and somehow has to confront Xana Kernodle and Ethan Chapin. Then after that, while he's done killing all four people, he goes to put his knife back, and he's like, where the hell's my sheath? Then he goes upstairs and looks for it and doesn't find it. Then on his way back down, he hears the whining sound, or the whimpering sound from Xana, and that sort of cues him to go back over there, and she's still alive, and he attacks her, and he uses the phrase, "It's okay, I'm here to help," So that's the only way I can explain that comment. That's not something that Ethan Chapin would have said. I know, that would be crazy, Jay, wouldn't it? I bet you I have a picture of the painting. Okay, whatever, DM. Whatever you want to believe, all right? Let's see, another case where they found no evidence of the victim at the home. Yeah, I said Madison Mogan. I already told you Madison Mogan. I already said that. That's what I said. I said that exact same thing. So you said, I'm not sure, Gray. I just told you. He went there, Madison Mogan. At least that's what I think I said, because that's what I'm thinking in my head. That Madison Mogan was the target, and Kaylee Gonzalez. It could be that I accidentally said Kaylee Gonzalez. I don't know. But Madison Mogan is the target. Kaylee was in the room. He may have wanted to sexually assault Madison, but then Kaylee was there. Then a fight ensued, and it was too much, and then the loudness of it woke up And maybe that's where somebody said, hey, there's somebody here. And that was Anna. And then he saw them. Then he attacked both of them, killed both of them. You know. So that's what I'm saying. No, I do not think that, Deanne. I just answered that question. I do not think that Ethan Chapin said, I'm here to help. That's just ridiculous. What boyfriend would ever talk like that? Well, they're just more outspoken, I think. I don't think they think they're more entitled. I think they're just, you know, nobody else is. They're just kind of letting the process happen, and he doesn't want to wait for that. I think I'd be more like kind of how he is, like always trying to be like, hey, come on, let's get going. What's going on? What do you got here? You know. You know what I think? I think Mike Patty is exactly the same person as Gonzalez. You know? I think they're the same people. Same exact type. Yeah. That's what I was saying, DM. I already said what you said up there. That Madison Mogan is the target. Yeah, Steve Gonzalez, yeah. Madison Mogan's the target. And Kaylee Gonzalez, I don't even know if he thought she was going to be there that night. And she was just sleeping in that same little bed, and he killed both of them. Come on, DM. What's the most expensive painting? He sold one for almost $100,000. It was called like something Condor or something. Can't remember the name. A lot of them are like 8, you know. He sold some for 40. That was back in the 90s, so I don't know what's going. I bet someday they'll be worth more. Well, an incel means you're involuntarily celibate. Like you want to be sexually active, but nobody finds you attractive enough, so you aren't able to be with somebody. That's what it means. It's just a made up name. It's not an official diagnosis. Yeah, I mean, I see what Zozo's saying too, though. Like they're just way too out. You know, they're out there a lot and they're on all the different shows. But maybe they're just designated as the spokesperson of the murder victim families. Oh wow, it got all the way up to there. Gee, that's a big number, Zozo. That might be what it costs. I don't know if it costs that much. I mean, 70,000. Seems like you could do that for 20, maybe. But it maybe also makes up for the loss of their own income to have to be there. You know, you can't work, things like that. Yeah. I haven't been following the GoFundMe stuff. Do you think he would have assaulted her first if there wasn't a surprise? Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. I think that's possible. You know? Although, you know, he brings that K-bar knife for a reason. So it could be that she rejected him and he was paying her back. But that doesn't fit also how he stalked the house for a long time. You know, drove over there many, many times. So what was he doing on those times? It seems like he was more watching and waiting, and you know, she might just represent exactly the type of girl he hates. You know, way beyond him. You know, very pretty, and he's just, yeah. And maybe he tried to be their friend on one of the apps. I don't know if that's a reality or not, but. I wouldn't say that's price gouging by the they didn't charge $70,000. They have a GoFundMe that raised $70,000. Yeah, maybe he took it off before he got back in his car. To that one. Mm-hmm. Did you say he was on a list at a bar or something? Yeah. Well, he was on a list at a bar back where he lived in Pennsylvania, where he went to college. And it was like, he was creepy. You know, look out for this guy. He's weird. He says strange things. That doesn't make him a killer, Gray. Well, it makes him weird. Yeah, it makes him weird as hell to be on a list like that. Did anything ever come of that Papa Rogers account? I don't know if they ever were able to determine if that was him or not. But hey, you guys, how do we get... what do I need to do tonight? Do I need to dance a jig? I'm going to see if we can get the support for the channel up here. We're currently at 20% of a nightly goal. But, you know, that's why I was hoping that if you have questions or comments, I mean, we can go over all the, you know, as many questions that we want, but it'd be great to keep the support going. We're getting near the end of the month again. I often wonder if Dylan locks her bedroom at night and he might have tried her door. Oh, I don't know. I don't think he's ever been in that house before. I think he just kept watching and watching. You can basically see the layout of the house. It's pretty simple. You see somebody walk out of the kitchen, then they walk up the stairs. Well, there you go. That means they just walked down the hall right there, went up the stairs, and then he knew that when he gets to the top of the stairs, he would take a right. Yeah, I'm sure they have a lot. Definitely be interesting to see what all the state has that we don't know yet. I mean, what they have now, he's already the guy, you know. I mean, you have a person that at like, I'm just remembering, is like 2:47, turns off his phone, and he's not at home. He's like in southern Pullman, and his phone's off. So there's no tracking him, but he shows up on different cameras. And then at 1:20, or I think it's 2, let's see, what time is that? 3, no, it's, yeah, so that was 2:40 something, and then like 45 minutes later, he's in a car matching his description, is in Moscow, Idaho. BK was a techno gizmo geek. I suspect there was a few electronic devices used in surveillance and method to block phone signals, such as a Faraday bag, or yeah, maybe, who knows. I mean, that's just, you know, that's overthinking stuff, like, you know, having a Faraday bag and all that. I don't think he did. I think he turned his phone off, and then we drove south after the killings. 25 minutes later, he turns the phone on near Blaine, Idaho, because he thought, okay, I'm clear of the crime scene, I'm good now, everything's fine. Betty wishes he could return to Latah County Jail right about now. Maybe. Yeah, we know there's like 16 minutes of missing time after he leaves the house, because his phone, when it pings by Blaine, he should have been there quicker. So there's 16 or 17 minutes missing. Now the defense will say, see, that's not him. He was somewhere else when he... Okay. No, it means that after leaving the crime scene, he wanted to discard the bloody items somewhere. And, you know, did he go back there another time to pick up those items? I don't know. I think he'd get the death penalty. Yeah. Koberger is exactly the type of person you want to give the death penalty to. Huh? Could be an ample amount of time. Huh? Yeah, I mean, it was like 17 minutes, so he just drove off the road, put it somewhere. You know, where that is, we don't know. And it could be, because that 17 minutes, though, is made up by if he drove this route down and over to here, that 17 minutes is eaten up. So it could be that he just did that, a way more southern route, and then when he gets right over here, he turns his phone on, and that's, you know, south of Blaine here. So it could be, or he, you know, maybe even turn it on right over here to get back, and then he comes out over here, and then he comes down, and then this road here, this is what they marked on the map. It's crazy. Goes all the way through nothingness, nothing there. Yeah, they either toss it in the water. Yeah, who knows? I mean, all the clothing he had too. Obviously, something he was wearing would have some blood on it. It doesn't have to be like Carrie, you know, from the movie Carrie, Sissy Spacek, you know, covered. Yeah, I mean, people make it sound like that, but it definitely doesn't have to be. It just depends on the angle that you're at compared to the wounds you've inflicted. You know, you'd probably have some cast off for sure, but you don't have to have arterial spray on you or something. But hey, guys, my channel relies on your generosity to keep doing these shows on a nightly basis. So if you have the ability to, just like I think it was L. Waters, I would appreciate it. I don't want to keep saying it over and over and over again. I just need you guys to remember to help support the channel so we can keep going. My channel's different than the others. We've given $220,000 over the years, last 5 years, away. So that's what my goal is, to keep being able to do that. Hey, when it's stated that they have zero let me put this one up on here. When it's stated that they have zero DNA, can you clarify what that could mean? Who? What case are you talking about? It doesn't mean that they are brilliant Dexter character, but that blood would cover your fingerprints, etc. I don't know what that means. But that blood would cover your fingerprints, etc. When it's stated that they have zero who said they had no DNA? Who are you talking about? Which case? Oh, Delphi. Well, they just don't have any DNA. They have little slight samples, I guess, of DNA here and there. Just they're so faint. You know, there's just no DNA. Many crime scenes do not have DNA on them from the killer. Believe it or not. It's not even as common as people think, that there's just DNA at the crime scene. And why don't you ask those same YouTubers that say there's no DNA? Who cares? You know what? Before 1985, every case that was solved didn't have DNA. There might have been DNA at the scene, but it wasn't used in the case to figure it out. So just because there's a lack of DNA doesn't have anything to do with anything. It's just unbelievable. Now, I mean, I guess it depends on what kind of case it is, too. You think there'd be more DNA? But let me ask you this. The people that the defense team wanted to bring in, they were basically saying there was this herd of wild Odinists committing the crimes. Where in the hell was their DNA? Anybody? Where was their DNA? There should have been DNA all over the place from those wild Odinist guys. But there wasn't any. But if it's Richard Allen doesn't have any, he couldn't have done it. But the 4 Odinists could have done it when they left none themselves? Give me a break. Oh, that's cool. Elwater. Yeah, I know. You're just asking me a question. Yeah, he might have worn gloves, too. What if Richard Allen just wore gloves? Man, there'd be nothing. He used the gun to control the girls to go down the hill. He used the gun to get them to undress. Then he used the gun, maybe perhaps to let Abby redress herself again. And they were both killed. And what if he had gloves on when he dragged Libby 20 feet or so? There's nothing. There'd be absolutely no DNA at the crime scene. Joanne, nobody knows what you're talking about. When you say all in 20 minutes, okay. Jesus. What case are you talking about? The Idaho 4 case? Because it isn't 20 minutes. It's 8. It's 8 minutes. So, man, your sarcasm would be even higher on that one. They got out of their car at 4:08 and left at a high rate of speed at 4:20. So in a 12-minute period, he was able to go down, get into the house, and kill 4 people, and then be back in his car driving away at a high rate of speed. So the homicide, the killings, took place in like 6 to 8 minutes. All right? Real simple stuff. All in 20 minutes, okay. And maybe I can find the, maybe it'll play tonight. Let's see. Idaho for 7 minutes. I think mine will pop up on there. Right there. Here, watch this.
Hey, two buddies, it is game time. Out of these 2 thumbnails, one of them scored 40% more clicks than the other. Can you guess which one?
Hughes of Gray Hughes Investigates on YouTube. Please like surveillance camera that picks up the...
Yeah, this actually does the whole looping part, right? But let's just get all the way to the point where they get into the... Let's see. So it's 407. Right here.
2 minutes at each location. I had to pose.
And by the way, it's matching it up with the surveillance footage. Let's go right here. This is 407.
This video this time is real time. I'm not speaking.
Right there.
You can see the time right now is 407
39
and 40 seconds.
It had just gone around the corner.
And here it comes. Everything on this video this time is real time. I'm not speeding anything up. So here's where the vehicle parks. I believe it parked right behind in the woods, back behind. Could even be farther to the left there.
See
and
the real up there?
Point of this video is to show you how easily somebody like Brian Koberger could go into that house and kill all 4 people in 7 minutes. I put time throughout this sequence here that shows the screen just goes blank, and you can use your imagination as to what happened in there. But it's a startling amount of time. I mean, 2 minutes at each location. I had to stop the 2 minutes at 2 minutes
I'm not sure
at each location.
I didn't realize
I had to put in some just dark video so you can use your imagination as to what happened. So when the car parked here, I believe he prepared to get ready
I
to
think he sat there for like a minute or so, getting ready to go in,
go into
watching through the window.
inside the house. Maybe he changed clothes. Maybe he put something over his clothing. Dylan Mortensen didn't mention anything over his clothing. She just said he was wearing all dark. So we don't know. Is he putting a bag on the ground here? Does he put a bag in the woods to put his bloody clothing in after the murders? We know that based on what the defense said, that they didn't find any blood evidence inside
I'm having
his
him
vehicle.
go in the house at
So
4:10.
perhaps Koberger put things into motion to mitigate putting blood inside of his vehicle. So here he is getting out of the vehicle, illustrated by the red dot, and goes down into the woods. Now I have him entering the house at around 4:10. So right about now enters the house, and I have a lapse time. So that's a ticker down in the bottom left hand corner, keeps track of the elapsed time while inside the house. I also believe that when Dylan heard what sounded like Haley playing with the dog, that's when the attack occurred, and that's right around here at 4:10. So right now, you'll see that the
He's in
clock
Madison Mogan's room,
is
you
going to
guys.
sit here for 2 minutes.
Look how long this
Went
is. You don't
into Madison Mogan's room,
You don't think he could have killed him in this little
and the
bit
clock
in
is
this
just
amount
going
of
to
time?
tick
Watch
here,
this.
and you can use your imagination
Yeah.
as to what happened in that room. But as you'll see, it's a tremendous amount of time. So for all the people out there that think that you'd need multiple people to
I've made 100 videos,
achieve
guys.
this
You gotta go
murder
watch 'em.
in
Crazy.
this short amount of time, I hope this lets you see that it's definitely possible.
Man, my sales pitches aren't working tonight at all. I've noticed.
I mean, this is the room where you had the knife sheath. One thing that people
See, isn't this already a long time? Like, he gets in there and he starts. There's an attack happening, and they're already dead at this point. Don't you agree? I mean, this is a long time in there,
debate about was the knife sheath
but it keeps going.
left there intentionally. I think it very well could be. I don't know for certain because I have another theory that he went back upstairs to look for the knife sheath, and when he came back down, he heard Xana making noises, and that's when he said, "Hey, I'm here to
Cindy,
help
you
you."
wanted me to go on
And then
Tom's
he
show,
showed
and you disappeared. I went on there for like
And that would mean
45
that he
minutes.
realized that he lost it somewhere, but he couldn't find it because it was underneath the quilt. However, you look at a theory where the knife sheath has been completely wiped clean, but he missed the spot right under the button. Why was he cleaning the knife sheath if he intended to take it with him?
Look how
For
long
the
this is in this room. you guys.
Possibility that he might drop.
Okay, put a 1 now if you can see. Oh, wow. He easily, at this point, should have been able to kill Madison Mogan and Kaylee Gonzalez, right? I mean, this is like a ridiculous amount of time that you just watched there. 2 minutes inside that room.
But there? I don't think so.
So I made these because I get so angry when people say,
So look at all this time that this
10
was
minutes,
taking.
no way! And it's like, no, it's...
And it's still got another 10 or 15 seconds. Now, you might hear an occasional bark or something in the background because I do have neighbors.
That's when I think I was in the living room.
I've been working
hold
on my
on.
fitness. In my zone, yeah, I'm minding my business.
So look
All
at
right,
that,
now
he's leaving the
the
room. There they
killer
are.
exits the room. You can see Kaylee and Madison on the bed there.
And he goes down. Now watch, he's down here
And
watching.
goes down the
It's
stairs.
like, oh, wow, there's
And
Ethan
then
Chapin,
I
huh?
have like Ethan Chapin sees him right there, and then he follows around, and then Ethan Chapin has his hands up to stop. And then here, when Ethan Chapin is killed, I added another 2 minutes or so. Now at this point, if he is being attacked out in that hallway originally, I'm sure Xana would likely open the door, but maybe Ethan said, "Shut the door behind you," and then she goes back in the room and, shuts the door and tries to hide, but surely she would have called 911 at that point
if she had witnessed an attack going on. So I'm not really certain of how this all went down here, but as you can see, there's a tremendous amount of time. We're only at 3 minutes and 39 seconds now, and I think the murders could have happened in 4 minutes.
Hey, thanks, Ozzy Trisha.
I really do. Look how much time has already elapsed here. If people were sleeping or unaware or, you know, drunk, as a lot of them likely were, we know that Kaylee and Madison had a lot to drink. Madison was kind of swaying around, and it seemed like Kaylee had some too, but she wasn't quite as intoxicated as Madison was.
I mean, look how much time this is, you guys.
So as you can see,
I
we
hope
still
it
have
wakes up
another
some people that didn't
40
realize
seconds or
that.
so, just in that hallway.
I
just
did
to
one
try
called
to
9 minutes. This
fill
is 7.
in the time here. So there's still a battle going in the hallway. See, I would think that he attacked Ethan and Xana almost simultaneously.
Thanks, Cindy.
Because if there's this much time here, surely somebody would have made a phone call. Probably got another 20 seconds or so here. And after this 20 seconds is up, you'll see the killer go into Xana's room.
So that's
and
just
Xana
Ethan
backing
Chapin
up
right
on
there.
a bed.
That's just Ethan Chapin. Oh, and then here's Xana.
You know,
right?
and then again, now you need to use your imagination as to what may have happened.
See how much time
inside
this is, you
that
guys?
room.
It's just ridiculous.
But look at the clock right now. It's 5 minutes and 13 seconds, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's all that has elapsed
And they were all drunk
so far, but you can
Think
see
about it like
how
that. They're all
long
drunk.
it truly is.
You know, and they're just not be able to fight back. I think it could have been in 4 minutes. To be honest with you, this is like right now he could have done it all, and he's
And
on.
this one I have like at a minute 50 worth of time
Thanks, DM.
ish.
Wait, you're not Dylan
So right
Mortensen,
now
are
it's
you?
about 40% of
You're not Dylan Mortensen.
time that
Gray was
I'm
talking to
allotting
Dylan
for
Mortensen.
Brian Koberger to spend in Xana's room. And for those of you who go, how do you know it's Brian Koberger? I'll
Wow.
say the killer in the room.
Yeah.
I'm 100% certain that Brian Koberger is the killer in this case. And
See, guys, I
I'm
got the conviction.
just as certain that he acted alone.
Yeah, 100% by himself. However, the people who want to create content and have more content, they come up with
And so this is
alternate
real
theories
time.
so that they can have
So
something
hopefully
to show
you're
you.
sitting there and you can use your imagination
Pretty disgusting, actually.
as to what's going on in these rooms here and in the
I
hallway.
come up with content regarding
And you can see
the
how
factual
much
information.
time it is. I hope this is starting to let people know, oh wow, that really is a lot of time. Because the walking that I'm doing is...
Okay, so right now, don't you think this is almost an absurd amount of time to have killed Ethan Chapin and Xana Kernodle? Just in that little bit of time right there? I mean, this amount of time that's been clicking by, don't you just feel like, oh, jeez, you know? So this is the time right here, and this is how long he's been in the house. And I gave 4 minutes, 2 for each person there.
is absolutely natural speed when you see the 3D animation.
I think you could be in
So here
5
we go.
minutes or less, to be honest. Oh, another commercial. Hey, alright. See, now they're in the
Koberger
room
now looking at his handiwork, exits the room, probably shut the door, maybe moved Ethan around.
Hey, look at
And
that.
then right here you can see
that's
Dylan
Dylan
Mortensen
Mortensen.
looking out the door there.
See that?
It
Yeah.
makes the turn speed
You see that? Look at that. That was Dylan Mortensen.
when you see the 3D animation.
Here, watch that again. Watch that.
So here we go. Koberger now looking at his handiwork, exits the room, probably shut the door, maybe moved Ethan around. And then right here you can see
Look at that. That's Dylan Mortensen looking out that door. The crack. Sees him.
See
turn.
Dylan Mortensen looking out the
Turn,
door
boom,
there.
that's- and he
He
leaves.
makes the turn and then goes out the door. And as you can see, that took a total of 7 minutes and 9 or 10 seconds. And you'll see next the red dot come out of the house
And look at the time up there. It's only 4:17 and 19 seconds or so. So this is about when there was a dog barking, whimpering sound. So he may have left a little bit later than this. But again, when the car speeds away at 4:20, that means there's another 2 minutes or so.
Maybe.
After Kohberger gets to his white.
My original theory was that he killed Ethan Chapin and Xander Carnodal first. But I don't know. Doesn't make sense. Because she was on her Snapchat after he got into the house.
Elantra parked behind the building. So at this point, it might be where he took off all of the bloody clothing.
Or not Snapchat, what she was using.
Put that into a plastic bag and tried to minimize completely the blood exposure to his own vehicle. I'm sure he wore gloves, obviously, because there was no touch DNA on the knife sheath other than the underside of that button. So if he had been holding the knife sheath, there would be DNA all over it.
Actually, there was one single source of DNA. So I don't know if there was no... Maybe it was covered with blood, but they only found one single source.
Wore gloves, and I think he used the gloves to take off his bloody clothing, and then he put the bloody clothing inside of a bag, maybe place it inside the bag, and then he takes off his bloody gloves, and then who knows if he rinsed his hands off or not, and then puts the bag, wraps it up and puts it in another bag maybe, in his vehicle, and then drives off and disposes of the bag somewhere. I'd be really shocked if he took the clothing home with him, but I guess he could have and then just washed it in a washing machine. We don't know. So this is the time he's spending near his vehicle after leaving the house, and I think that's when he's trying to mitigate the blood exposure to his white Elantra.
Look at that. Look at what time it is. Look at all this time he
and as you can see, this is quite a bit of time to be able to change clothes.
Yeah.
And get out of
the bloody clothing,
put it in the bag, etc., etc. But he's probably even hustling doing this because he seems like he's in a hurry. That's why he's speeds away from the crime scene. And you'll see that coming up in just a second. Elantra Drive, and outside the house was the elapsed time of 7 minutes and 10 seconds.
Goes on Queen Road.
In the vehicle. So as you can see, he continues on Elantra Drive, and as we know, when he was south of Moscow, his phone was turned back on, and with only 20 minutes after the white Elantra left the Moscow area, it pinged 20 minutes later south of Moscow and continued to ping all around until it made it back up to Pullman, Washington at around 5:30 a.m. So here's a shortened version of this.
I guess it's not really shortened because I let it play the whole time. But anyways, I guess it is shortened.
And turns the corner and down the stairs, and there's Ethan, and turns the corner, takes her right, then Dylan Mortensen opens the door right there. You can see her peering out. She sees the bushy eyebrows, wearing all dark, and a face mask. And that's it, everybody. So thank you very much for watching.
There you go. There you go. All right. Now, wasn't that super chat worthy, you guys? You have to admit. All right. We got, let's see. Big Saul sent me a message earlier. See, they're saying that he's going to be brought up on federal charges. You know, me too, you guys. Man, people just don't understand. See, what it was the CIA contacted Fig Solves and myself about 4 years ago, and they said, hey, listen, we need you guys to help out in the Delphi case. See, we believe it's actually these other people, but they're helping us out in these other areas. So we don't want them charged. Will you guys like work with the family to promote a false narrative out there, and we can all just work together as a team? So what we've been doing, me and Fig Solves, we've been sort of working with these agencies over the years, making just tons of money. I mean, they send us like bags of cash, and we are interfering with the true outcomes of these cases. All right, and Jesus. If these people knew, see, here's what's amazing, you guys. Like, Fig Solves knows who he is himself, and I know who I am myself. So when you hear people say these kinds of things, you have intimate knowledge in how crazy they are, because you know what they're saying is BS, okay? And it's hilarious. However, they rely on other stupid people just like them to continue it and to propagate it and make it be bigger. Yeah. Because I think half of them don't even believe it themselves. They just know that it'll sell to willing idiots, right? All right. Anybody have any questions on who has questions for me? Anybody? Come on, trolls. I know you're watching right now. You're waiting for any kind of screw up or of some kind. Go ahead, okay? What do you got for a question? By the way, if you're out there and you believe Richard Allen is innocent, tell me why you think he's innocent. That's what I want to answer. But I definitely need more support from the channel tonight, you guys. We are at 33%, which is absolutely horrible. With 306 people watching. Should be pretty simple to get to. They weren't hiding it. Yeah, I mean, Bob Mata was basically part, a defense team surrogate, I'm not saying he was on the defense team, but he was definitely a surrogate of theirs. He got seats in there every single day, and he sells the same narrative that they sell on their channel. I mean, I don't think Bob Mata is like a mean person or something like that. I just think he's a defense attorney mindseted person. That's what they think like. They think about, how can we free somebody? Man, what's going on tonight, you guys? It's wild. Someone said they think Richard Allen is innocent because he went down the hill and handed the girls off to... Well, that would make him guilty, though, wouldn't it? Of felony murder. Yeah. Well, that would make him... So the actual killer wore the same clothes as Richard Allen? That's weird. Well, lots of guys wear that. So he hands the girls off, so that means he's guilty of felony murder. See, Richard Allen has no escape or out in this case. That's the reality. I guess we could do a... maybe get the... Put StreamYards in there. Pin it at the top. If you want to come on... Yeah. Go ahead. I have to see you, in the video or something. I'm not just going to put you up on there with a black screen or something. But you can also just do audio if you want. Anybody have any questions about that? Come on, trolls, you got some? I mean, right now there's people watching that think Richard Allen is innocent. All right, you're welcome to type in what you want, okay? I'll just respond to the question in a logical way without, even though I think you're nuts, I'll just answer in a way to, that's not mean, okay? It's going to be hard as hell, I can tell you that. How can they make the good... Well, I know that's the thing. They always do the defense attorneys, when they're on YouTube, they look at how can we make this guy innocent. And who the hell wants to follow that? You know, I guess it's okay to watch if you're wanting to see what the arguments might be. But when they're sitting there trying to, day after day, when just knockout blows are being thrown, and they try to spin it off and gaslight the viewers into believing something else, man, I don't know how you keep continuing to go back to get destroyed. I mean, it's unbelievable. Hey, thanks, Mike Fitzpatrick. Do you think Richard Allen's sentencing will be televised December 20th? I sure as hell hope so. I think it should be on YouTube or something where it's just... I love the way Idaho does it. You know, they actually have, for each court, you know, the judge, they have their own YouTube channel. And by the way, if a video is playing and you grab the URL, they keep them there. They're not... they don't delete them. They're literally just unlisted. So you can go back and watch it again. So whenever you see one of those live streams, just grab the entire URL, and you know, if you send it to me, I can actually download the damn thing. My background in law enforcement is zilch. Well, I guess if you want to say that I've made exhibits for a prosecutor in New York, then that's about it. Just crime scene reconstruction 3D version. That's about it. I think just over time, when you do a lot of cases, you have common sense and can think through cases and eliminate stuff that's irrelevant and just kind of think through it like that. Hey, thanks so much. Rad Story. All right. With a super sticker. Do I make you laugh sometimes, Rad Story? I hope so. I just don't like them pushing a narrative. But that's all they do, Cindy. Because that's their gig. I don't know if they're like... I don't know how anybody out there with a straight face can believe that Richard Allen is innocent. I mean, it's almost embarrassing. You know? Did our education system let us down that badly? Maybe the answer is yes. What do you mean, Yvette? Thank you, Karen Morrison, with a super sticker. All right, we got to 40%. Not bad, not bad. Graham, surprised the defense didn't ask you to do 3D the sticks and making it. Oh, wait, that's what I was going to look at, you guys. We gotta take a look at this. We gotta take a look at this. Thanks for reminding me of that. I don't know why the defense would need me to make 3D the sticks and making it read "I am Odin." That doesn't work. I mean, I don't care what somebody pays me. I wouldn't make something up for a trial. If it's real factual information, I would put it out. Like, we got to take a look at this. I thought I saw something when Fig Solves used that same video that I used years ago. This one right here. I don't know if he got it off my channel or he found the same. It's still on Twitter probably. But look at, watch this. Let me see something. I almost felt like I could see the stack of branches. Like right there or something. I don't know. Like I was thinking that they moved the branches to, like, wouldn't that be crazy if we're actually looking at the branches? Because they said they moved them away and stacked them somewhere. And they knew where they stacked them. This is right inside or just outside. Well, I guess not, because the yellow tape is inside of that tree. But I was looking at that thinking, man, look at that. That looks just like that. Okay. I just disproved myself. It was just a thought. Anyways, what do we got here? The bent tree, not straight tree. Let's see. I just can't believe the SFPD talked to him and he said who's SF? Running away, but because of a screw up with, I don't even know what you're talking about, man. I have no idea. Let's see. Zozo, hey, what would be cool? I didn't think about that, but, huh? Oh yeah, wouldn't it be cool if you could put the put it in there and see if it could decipher it? That'd be pretty interesting. Yeah, but what does Zodiac have to do with what we were talking about? You know? Man, I get so confused when it's just like totally unrelated and I'm reading the stuff and I don't know. Yeah, just take one of his things and say, find the cipher. I'm sure somebody's done that already. That's really, like, that would almost be obvious for somebody to try. Oh yeah, well, is anybody going to call in? Because I got the number up on pinned in chat. You just click on it. Maybe I need to, let's see, what do I do? Turn that off. Turn that down a little bit. See, do settings, audio, echo cancellation. All right, there we go. Ooh, Richard Allen had Mensa puzzles. Boy, he must be a genius. I'm in Mensa, everybody. Don't make fun of me. I have a feeling that's what a lot of the true crime trolls think. They're just so brilliant. Yeah, here's the truth. If law enforcement ever went, well, we got to check and see if Gray ever, there's zero time. I've never spoken to Dr. Walla, nor has she ever contacted me or anything. And I actually was given the, and actually said on the show, we actually talked about who gave me the rumor about Dr. Wall. We didn't know what doctor, just a psychologist, has a confession where Richard Allen mentioned seeing the van in, and it startled him. Oh, thanks so much, Rad Story. Good. I try to make people laugh on here a lot. I have a sarcastic humor, dry humor, deadpan sort of stuff. I think that Tom Webster guy has a little bit of that too. He always has this little sort of smile, like a little. I had never talked to him before. I've seen him over the years. I think I always had him confused with somebody else, though, like a person that I didn't like. It's kind of weird. I'm more. See, I'm not. When I know something to be true, I'm not as willing to accept something that's completely factually wrong than other YouTubers are. Like, he seems more willing to just be like, yeah, it's okay, whatever, I like to challenge those same people. I don't like to just let them, 1 + 1 does equal 2, right? So when you're saying 1 + 1 = 77, I don't just go, well, let's agree to disagree. It's okay that you think it's 77. No, it's not okay. You see, it's not okay because you're not using common sense or reason or logic. You're just sort of throwing it out there and hoping somebody else believes it. Yeah, sarcasm. Typing sarcasm doesn't work very good often, unless you use a little smiley face or something that kind of gives somebody a clue. Come on. Let's see. And you guys are still talking about the Zodiac, huh? Did you watch like a podcast on it or something, or listen to a podcast? I mean, I bet there's some good ones on it out there. Maybe that'd be something good to listen to. Yeah, let's see. What were the Easter eggs? I don't know what you're talking about. Log had a few Easter eggs as clues to the case. I wouldn't say that they were Easter eggs. He mentioned actual things that may have been in the crime. Then he didn't even mention the knife sheath. I think he said they must have left the knife sheath at the scene. Something like that. I mean, maybe that was just good deduction, but Rogers is Elliot Rogers, the king of incels. He's the king of incel. And so when you say Papa Rogers, is that him throwing out an homage because he's one too? See, I would say Brian Koberger, he wouldn't be like an ugly person if he wasn't a killer. It was just that his personality combined with him turned him into an ugly person. Although I don't, just in general, I wouldn't find him attractive. Sorry, Brian. But man, if you ever got out, I'd love to have lunch with you because I just think you're a great guy. As a matter of fact, if you could take care of my pets for me and everything, I think that'd be fantastic. I think you're just a guy that got screwed over by the... Yeah, you always got to look for the low ears, Lisa Valenzuela. The low ears. Yeah, Zozo always has different jokes about the nose. Hey, Timothy Cecil, what are you listening to? A podcast or something on it, or what? Koberger's nose looked like it ran into a Mack truck. The irony of being an incel and then getting fans after your heinous crime and arrest, right? Because they all could change him. If they just slept with him one time, he'd be a nice guy after that. And we could just all forgive him for all the killings he did. Yeah, birthing hips. That's right. Yeah. Normal people say that all the time. Okay, I'll say this. Birthing hips is worse than your eyes look like lizard. All right? Your eyes look like a lizard. That's just like stupid. But when you say something like birthing hips, man, that's crazy. Like, what does that even... you're already down the road of like having a family and she has great birthing hips. I'm just trying to make excuses for my lizard eye comment. Hey, thank you very much, Plato, or not Plato, but Susie Sandpiper. But thanks, Plato, just for being here. Love your ethos, Gray, and the work you do with tech to show how the facts play out. Yep. Appreciate it. I think I could work on trying to be more, just sort of accepting of, ideas that I don't know how to do it, though. Maybe you guys could. I mean, it's just so difficult for me. Like, you've already gone through and explained something, and it wipes out a theory completely. And then 5 minutes later, somebody brings up that exact theory. And then you say, well, yeah, I just said that. I just explained it to you. it's hard to do it again, you know. Well, I just got here, Gray. Well, then hit the rewind button. You're so rude. Yeah, I guess. I know, it's just difficult for me. I don't know how to talk to a flat earther. Right, that's exactly right. I can't have a conversation. I couldn't have a conversation with Rick Snay. We tried it. You know what's interesting? If you go back about 2 or 3 years ago, he was a little bit more just kind of. I mean, this is what I find interesting: is like he's buddies with Tony Klein, just a horrendous person, and then he's friends with Rick Allen's wife. I mean, it's like, what are you doing, man? All right. Yeah, it's just difficult. I mean, I wouldn't mind if there was more of a, because you know what I liked when I was watching that show today, Tom's show today. I was thinking it was cool that other people would type in dissenting, like opinions, and I think it'd be fun to talk about their opinion in either how it might make sense or how it doesn't make sense given the facts. And I think that would be a better way to have a dialogue, right? So that's what I was thinking. Hey, we just made it to 50%, you guys, of a nightly goal. Pretty good. What do you guys think? I mean, there might be a way I can do both. Maybe it's like after I've sat and explained it and the person doesn't, almost willfully, ignorantly won't agree. Just because they don't agree, Gray. No, it's like, listen, if you're giving somebody information, for example, Richard Allen, right? When Richard Allen, he says he got there at 1:30, left at 3:30, then he changed it to 12 to 1:30. The 4 girls wipe out the entire time that he was there in the 12 to 1:30 time, and I guess so does Betsy Blair now. I didn't realize her other Fitbit time was right in that same window, so Richard Allen lied about that. So we know for certain that he got there at 1:30, just like he said, and that his vehicle drives by the Hoosier Harvest Store. The 4 girls were at a bench at 1:26, Hoosier Harvest Store 1:27. Then they pass each other. There is no rational thinking person that would believe that the person, that those 3, or the 4 girls, but 3 of them are the witnesses, that they did not see Richard Allen. Because Richard Allen also admits to seeing those same people, even saying one looked like an older sister of another, and we know that that's what that was. It was 2 sets of older sister and a younger sister. One of them was probably just not visible to him, or doesn't remember seeing. Maybe one was standing behind the other, right? So it's not rational for anybody to say, I don't believe that those girls saw Richard Allen. All right, so once they say that and they won't budge, you can't have a conversation with them anymore because they're factually incorrect. Right there, they're done. So then they want to go, see, Gray, you're not... No, it's like you're wrong already. It's like 1 + 1 = 2. All right, so if we can agree on that, we can move to the next stage. But that's where it gets difficult for me. I don't know how to do it. I'll try, though. I'll try to do some other thing. He didn't say what color the van was. Yeah, it doesn't matter what color. He just said a van. The only van on the road is the white van. That's it. Yeah, it doesn't matter what color the box cutter was or anything. He just said box cutter. But it is interesting that he would just bring up box cutter, right? It's kind of a random thing to say. And maybe that's why he had to dig in a couple times, because it wasn't long. So he had to kind of keep trying to puncture. I mean, it's so sick, It's just... But hey, guys, if you're out there and you could help support the Grant Hughes Investigates YouTube channel, allow us to keep doing all these cool shows and videos, I would appreciate it. All right. Nobody's going to call in or come on. He didn't have anybody but me come on there because I was told, "Hey, Gray, go up there. Gray, go up there." You know what? You ever notice this? The conspiracy nutter channels, they can't keep people off. They got like 19 people up on their screen. Why is that? Why is that? It's weird. Well, it's just part of the case, Timothy. It's part of true crime. Yeah, but I think they feel like they're all on a mission together. So they're like, look at us now. We're gonna go to the Supreme Court. Yeah, shut the hell up, man. You guys aren't going to achieve anything. All right. I'm just letting you know right now. But they don't care. You know why? Because they created I mean, it's so interesting because I think the gold mining comparison's pretty close. If you just kind of say, okay, listen, there's this case that was really popular, and they were able to, do okay covering it over the years. Then the case is solved, but they aren't willing. They want it. That's all they've ever covered. So they stay in the same stream. I guess it's kind of strange though, because it's almost like they're dumping gold back into the river so they could pan it. You know what I mean? They invented a conspiracy theory so that and they believe they're pretending. I think a lot of these creators are pretending they believe Richard Allen is not guilty because it creates content for them for years, really. I mean, because that's all they've got. So if the case was over, what in the hell would Rick Snake cover? Nothing. What in the hell would the Prof cover? Absolutely nothing. What would Slow Joe cover? Nothing. That's not true, Gray. He covered the floor. He doesn't care about the Florifier people. He doesn't give a damn. He just does Delphi, and he throws it in there to make it sound like he's a caring person. A caring person wouldn't blame Kelsey and the family at all, right? So those people, they have nothing to cover. We've got tons of stuff to cover. I've covered, like I said, I'll get on Lisk when we're doing that one. Maybe we'll start doing that a little bit more. Try to get everything dialed in. The Stephen Stearns. Obviously Delphi, Idaho 4. Delphi's over, but there's hearings and stuff coming up. We got that. And then just all the various cases that come around. Sebastian Rogers. These are the big ones. And then there's smaller ones out there. Crystal Rogers we've done. So I'm not like really. They always think, Gray, what are you going to do when the Delphi case? Man, we went months not talking about it. Well, what do you mean he has to have an accomplice? So go ahead, explain that, Giuseppe. So that's what I need. Okay, let me try it. Let me experiment with you. All right. So I just think he has to have an accomplice. Okay, how come? Type it in. And by the way, if you joined on the StreamYards, you don't have to use your face. You can just talk. I don't know, A Blank Slate. I have no idea. It's weird. It's almost like they don't watch my show until they see the word Delphi pop up. And they go, look, Gray's only, You got it. Be patient. What do you mean? Only because controlling both victims would be a problem. No, it wouldn't. He had a gun on him, Giuseppe. Do you think people wouldn't? If you had a gun, you could control two people easily. Nobody's going to, especially if you're kids, you're not going to do something he didn't say. So move on to the next point. What's the next point that makes you think that? Yeah, hey, Cindy, let me answer the questions, okay? DM, question for Gray. Just curious if you have the same opinions about Jennifer Soto. What do you mean the same opinions? I don't know what you mean. I think Jennifer Soto is a victim. Not the greatest mother in the world, but she's a victim. Yeah, you remember the Virginia Tech shooting? That guy killed 20 people. Because they wouldn't move because he had a gun. You don't think 2 teenage girls would do that? Well, they're 13 and 14. They're not pre-teen. Yeah. And the other day I said, women don't scream. And they go, look at Grace calling those girls women. Okay. I made a mistake, you guys. Like, okay, yes, they're girls. I was really just talking about females is what I meant. Females don't always scream. And then he turned it into some weird fetish thing. You know what's weird is the fact that you thought that makes you a predator. Who the hell would even think that? I just said, yeah, women don't always scream. Did you hear Gray? He said women. Those are 2 little girls. How? Oh, wow, that's weird. He thinks of them as women. And it's like, no, I don't think of them as women. I just said women don't always scream, meaning, females. Yeah, obviously it wasn't artfully worded, but it's really obvious. The lack of defensive wounds and different states of bodies would suggest moving after death. Yeah, I don't know what that means, man. Your sentence, I think you're trying too hard. The lack of defensive wounds and different states of the bodies would suggest moving. Okay, one of them was moved after death. Or Libby was. She was dragged to where she was found. Abby apparently was where she was killed is where she was found. So you're wrong there. The lack of defensive wounds maybe they were just surprised. Don't really know, Hey, thanks so much, Alex, who gifted 5 memberships to, who do we got here? Xena Withfire, Volsana, Loki, Miss Smith, like Misty and Eddie, aka why? I don't even know, man. Kelly O. Thank you. How about some other people do some gifting memberships? We need to get more. We only got 8. I don't know what that person's saying up there. That doesn't have any indication of multiple people at all. I think most of the people that think there's multiple people read and listened to the people who believe in the. You got to show a picture or something. You don't have to show your picture on the screen, but all right, we'll try. We'll try how this goes. Here we go. Let's see what happens. All right, you're on there. Unfalse crime junkie, whatever the hell that means.
Yeah, I know. Can you be sarcastic? So unfalse, it's the opposite of true. Because how many true?
What do you mean? Can you be sarcastic? What do you mean?
I'm ready for it. I've got questions for you.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
All right. So, Gray, there were absolutely no defensive wounds on the girls. None.
So what?
So, how is this not the Odinist then?
How is it not the Odinist? So it goes straight to, because there's no defensive wounds, it means there's Odinist.
Yes.
How come there's no DNA left by any of the Odinists?
Because they, that's why they were taken to another location and then brought back at 4:33 a.m.
But they weren't brought back because the phone never moved.
But it did move because of the headphones.
No, it didn't move. The headphones is an anomaly, and the phone still didn't move even when the headphone was plugged into the jack. So this guy held down Abby's leg and reached underneath there and pushed in the jack, right, to listen to some, maybe there would be music playing, and then went, oh, nothing there, and then waited an hour or 3 hours, whatever the hell it was, and then pulled the jack out. There you go. Okay. I know you're being sarcastic. I get it. But
There you go.
anyways,
So I'm going to be the devil's advocate. But okay, so I've also
Yeah.
heard though that, well, a question asked was, then why would they plug in headphones? For what reason? So that and I
well,
was
there wasn't really one plugged in. It was just like water or dirt or something.
right.
There's nothing. Yeah.
But let's say I asked somebody who believes the opposite, well, why would they plug in headphones? And they said to make sure that the phone wasn't heard ringing. I'm like, couldn't you just? I'll just let you go from there. Can you just silence?
Yeah,
it?
no, I know that. I've heard that one too. Like you plug it in, and it rings into the headphones. But I mean, it's just you left it plugged in. So you were there all the way up until the morning. When was it? Didn't it go from like 5 to 8 or something? When it was turned plugged in a second time. So they're still sitting there waiting at the crime scene for hours and hours and hours just so it wouldn't ring. Why not just leave? You know, like
Or
I don't know.
So well, okay. They had a message to send. So they wanted to send that message, and instead of like taking them out to a field somewhere else and just turning on the phone to send the message, they had to go back and infiltrate where there were searchers and
even bring the bodies there too.
Yeah.
They wanted to bring the bodies there too. And so they brought it all the way back down there so that you send a secret message. Okay. Are you hearing people say these kinds of things? Or
Yes. So I need you to debunk that for me, please.
Well, it is. They're so stupid. It's just debunked naturally without even trying to. You don't have to say anything to debunk it. It's just absurd, right?
I mean, it is, but all right. So then this question, why did Abby have a hair wrapped around her finger all the way across the creek? She was holding on to it like for DNA.
Because she must have gotten a fight with Libby's sister, because the hair had the follicle on it, so it had to be something like that. It couldn't just be the fact that she's wearing twice during that day. She wore one of Abby's shirts. Kelsey's shirts. She wore the gray sweatshirt, and she wore the black sweatshirt that Libby had on. And then her hands went all the way through the arms of the sweatshirt and even gripped the end. So likely there would be maybe a hair or something inside one of those two shirts. Yeah.
But no, because they washed it, and Kelsey said she washed it and it was brand new.
Yeah, well, the shirt was in the car, on the way there. So Kelsey's car would likely have tons of hairs. I mean, put a 1 in the chat if you're a woman and you have lots of your hair sitting around in your car.
Thank you.
Yeah. So there's that one. Okay, go ahead.
All right. See, this is pretty great. All right. Well, what about also, do you think incel will be in the next DSM diagnostic and statistical manual? Do you think that will be a new diagnosis that people will get? I learned
they might call it something else. I don't know. I don't even know if that would be one. It's just sort of this group of people that call themselves that. It doesn't mean anything. I don't think there's a diagnosis of it.
No, but it should be, because you're right that it does peg them pretty well. All right.
Yeah.
Well, so, okay, when people say there's absolutely zero DNA at the crime scene and there's absolutely zero defensive wounds, some people are taking this to mean that like it's pristine and and the girls never fought back at all. But that's not what it means. It means there could be plenty of DNA, there could be plenty of footprints, but it's a woods. It's How would you answer that?
You mean like DNA on the? What do you mean? I guess I didn't understand what you said.
Okay, so a lot of people say they have zero DNA, zero.
Well, they have some like little trace this and trace that, but a lot of people are saying that there was seminal fluid on them, and there wasn't. Though that's the weird part, is there wasn't. That's just some rumor that people said. Don't you guys think that if there was really seminal fluid found on both girls, that would be a headline in a newspaper? That somebody out there would have said, "Oh my God, there was traces of seminal fluid. So obviously that must have been, but there isn't. And what happens is I think there was just that they found trace male DNA on the two girls, and then somebody must have said maybe that's seminal fluid, and then it got completely blown out. And somebody said it was seminal fluid. You know how the telephone game goes. Yeah, I don't buy it at all. I saw people typing that in today, and I don't think that's a reality. If it was, I guarantee you, Daily Mail would say seminal fluid found on both victims, because that'd be a huge story. That'd probably be like the number one headline, I would imagine.
Well, and then, okay, so this is my last question, bringing this to Idaho 4. So as we've looked at everything that they could get done to a science with Libby's phone, with the health app, they could see elevation, they could see movement. Do you think that would ever be used in the Idaho 4 case to really pin down the timeline even more about who was killed first?
Yeah, I don't know if they have, because he had his phone off during all the important times.
Yeah, he did.
Right. Oh, the girls in the house. Yeah, maybe that would be sort of interesting if they had like the movements and heart rate of, man, that'd be really crazy. Like Xana and Ethan, and then maybe Madison had a watch on, et cetera. Well, like when their heartbeats stop. I mean, they could nail it down to like the second. That'd be crazy. Mm-hmm.
And what technology was that they didn't have at that point? That because they keep saying it's like, just like DNA that's getting better and better.
I mean, they might have it. We just don't. They didn't need that in the probable cause document. It was like the app on the phone. Maybe it was like, I mean, if you have Fitbit, it records that. But also, what Libby had was just like the health app or something on the Apple phone. I don't know, but it like recorded her steps and so forth.
And then the last thing is that so many people, you're right. So that doesn't have to be in the probable cause affidavit. So the amount of does our system here, the law system, and even in Indiana and across the country, do we have to have everything? Do we arrest people for absolutely no reason at all with zero evidence?
No.
No.
You have to have probable cause.
Okay.
To arrest them.
So whenever they say that this person's arrested, there's zero evidence on him, he was just railroaded. It's like, well, no, there is plenty of evidence. We just don't know it all yet. We'll hear it in court. Right.
Yeah. I mean, Richard Allen. Well, they arrested him after they did the warrant, and they literally after they tested the bullet and found that it matched, and then saw that he was out there, and then they also saw that his car drove by, and etc. So that was enough to arrest him easily. So they arrested him, and then it all just went downhill from there for Richard Allen. I mean, it's amazing though, his incarceration. I think what the defense team hates is the fact that after he was arrested, that's where a lot of the really, really damning information came from. His confessions and information that only the killer would know, and the sort of calm confessions that he was doing. It really sells the case a lot, and it actually puts everything together. I mean, he literally, in the one confession that's really important, where he mentions the van, the whole story he told about going to his mom's house, then not wanting to go to lunch, then getting the 6-pack, drinking 3 of them, then going home, drinking 3, then getting his jacket, then going out to the trails, and then seeing the girls, following them. He almost said all those exact same things to, I think it was Holman, in his interview on the 26th, I think, or it might have been actually Liggett, where he said, yeah, I went over to my mom's house, and then after that I went home, got my jacket, and I went to the trails. I mean, isn't that amazing? It literally is the same, but he just added extra detail in there. So he told it twice, maybe multiple times.
Okay, so I was at the 3-day hearing, and at some point, I don't remember, I honestly can't remember where this came from, but there was discussion, though, that at first Kathy thought, and I think this came from the defense, maybe they were putting this out first, that Kathy thought he was asleep when she went to work, and then he called off from CVS, and when she got home, he was still asleep in the same bed.
Oh. So
Yeah.
like he took off. I'm you know, like, so she went to work and then he goes over to quote mom's house, and then I actually wonder what he was really doing.
Okay. So
Yeah.
right, we got to
That-
line this up. I'll send you my notes because I'm like, this is a whole different story than I thought before, and the defense didn't say this because I was like, whoa, he's at his mom's house. That's not what we heard before. Before they said that, well, Kathy, she went to work, and then Richard Allen told her he called off, and she knew he was sick, and then he was in the same spot in bed when she got home from when she left. So
well, that was said in that 3-day hearing.
yes,
That's what their alibi was.
I don't know if it was out, like the thing about the 3-day hearing, it was like it was something that came out in cross in some kind of weird way, but it wasn't their exact alibi. But so I remember writing that down in my notes and then thinking that was going to come out, and so it didn't. But I'll have to.
That'd be
send
kind
it
of
to you.
interesting because that would be sort of a lie. Something you could make something of that for sure.
Right.
You
Well,
know, I don't know if she just said it or they had a different story before, but then he tells Holman, and so before this hearing, like way back in October 2022, that's when he told him that he went
right.
to the
So this made me really rethink everything and think, well, when did Kathy know? Did he tell her the day of, hey, babe, I'm, or whatever, or 3 days later, I did go talk to him. I'm completely clear. Don't worry. It's not me. That looks like me. That looks like my jacket. It's not me. Or did he only do that after he was arrested? And then he had to tell her, well, hey, the police, look, they interviewed me and they cleared me and they said, don't tell anybody, which one? It's looking more suspicious.
Yeah. Well, I think that I thought something that was sort of interesting that I was thinking about today was when she said to him, "You didn't tell me you were on the bridge."
Yes.
I think that actually means that she thought he looked like bridge guy, but he said he wasn't on the bridge, so she kind of just let it go. But then, because why would that matter? He already told her he was on the trails. That's significant enough. Right?
Yes.
Not mentioning that he was on the bridge is sort of like, okay, whatever. It should have been a whatever kind of thing, but it wasn't. Because now she's saying, you didn't tell me you were on the bridge, because then I would have actually known that was you. You said you never went on the bridge, so it couldn't have been you. I just thought it looked like you. I think that's exactly what that means in deciphering that.
Absolutely. And I think that's exactly what I think. And then that's why I think that Brittany, like, I don't even, but the daughter, I mean, at some point, she just stayed back and was like, I mean, I don't know the level of or that you have to convince yourself, the level of denial. I don't know what that is, but at some point the daughter was like, was that their own secret? Was that Kathy and Ricky's secret? And so they never told the daughter. So it was like, well, we knew you were on the bridge, and so the daughter was like, I'm not buying this, or, I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay. But you picked up everything I was putting down. Thank you. That's all I wanted. That's what I wanted to
okay.
bring to your attention. That was brilliant. Thank you so much.
Well, cool. Thanks for having a whole bunch of questions and calling in.
Well, I mean, I knew that that the Delphi community will see this, and so I hope they watch this. And it's like, well, no, Gray said it straight. So
Yeah. Well, some of it I mean, like I don't have a way to see with conspiracy theorists. You can't give explanations for and answer their questions often because they're just conspiracies. Like they say, hey, the government did this, and you go, and then what proof would I have the government didn't do it? Right? Like if they, like in the, hey, it's a big cover up for the Odinist people. well, I don't have a way to prove it wasn't a cover up for the Odin. It just doesn't make any sense. But I can't say, you know, I don't know. That's the problem when you're arguing against a conspiracy theorist or somebody that's a flat earther. It's sort of like a circular argument type thing that never gets anywhere at all because they're based on conspiracy.
Well,
And
okay, right. So if they had zero DNA, zero everything, then and nobody on film or whatever, then how did like what you said before? How did this like army of 12 Odinists, whatever, come in to do their little ritual? When did that happen? Where's the DNA on that?
Well, I think it's funny how these same people. Well, the only thing I think is interesting is that these nut jobs out there, they say over and over again, Richard, he left no DNA. How could it be him? But they never once go, you know, the defense team is claiming there was 5 people, like a whole bunch of Odinists there, and they didn't leave any DNA. So what's more likely? That one person didn't leave any DNA or a pack of wild Odinists?
Where was Elvis Field's spit? I mean, that should have been the clearest thing ever.
Yeah, I guess it just wasn't there.
Yeah, I guess it just wasn't. I guess he just, you know, guess he just said that, but he didn't say it in a vacuum. Let's also say that. Where Richard Allen made all of his confessions. I will say that I've been to the court many days. There were days I maybe heard transcripts of what was said, and then there on the very last day I kind of heard it myself. He was adamant. Like there was not. Maybe I wasn't so convinced by if someone would read the transcripts and it wasn't like a maybe what he said in the wording wasn't so powerful. However, he was adamant. It wasn't just like a, you know, I did this, and then just
he said, I did this. No, you didn't do it. I did this. I need you to know that I did this.
Yes.
Yeah, and he said it over and over again.
Confident over and over, like.
And I think my theory that I don't know if you were even watching, but my theory is that he wanted his mom and his wife to believe that he did it, but still love him, knowing that he did it, because that's the only way he could really unburden himself, is to realize that he's still loved, even though he's done something horrible. So every time he would say it, they would go, "Nah. Well, we love you, but you didn't do it, man. Quit saying that." So what that's really saying is that we love you, but we don't believe you did it. That's why we still love you. So he never got that answer, and then finally he asked his mom. He said, "I did this. Do you still love me, even if you know that I did it?" And she said yes. And he goes, then he said, "Regardless if I did it." I mean, so he just said, "I did this. You love me?" She said yes. Then he said, "Regardless if I actually did do this," that kind of thing. And then she said, "Yes, I still would." So she finally gave him the answer he was looking for, but they just kept trying to convince him that he didn't really do it. And then he just went with what they wanted. I think it's weird. It's weird that somebody can confess that many times and it doesn't make it to a place where that's just the resolution of the case. You know, he signed a document. It was turned over. I mean, what happened? His attorneys went, "Well, that's not, that was under duress or something." And I don't know.
Oh, that could be a whole other show because, yeah, where are the ethics here of they can't, you know, defense attorneys can't knowingly mislead the court and lie. So Deception Detective, I'd love to set you up with him. I watched one of the videos because he said, well, in Brian Koberger's case, because he's like, clearly Brian Koberger did it. So what did he say? The evidence will show you Brian Koberger was stargazing. And I probably know nothing about Idaho, so you might know this. Yeah. He said the evidence will show that. So
yeah, no, we've gone over all that stuff. It's not gonna show that he was stargazing.
Well, but he's giving the strategy. So after I heard that, then that explains to me why I was there for the whole Perlmutter Odinist when she went over that whole thing, and it was like, why did this? It was so like draining. Why did he come out here and tell us what he was going to tell us for an hour and a half, then tell us what the evidence would show, then bring her on, and it was like, oh, I get it, because he had to preface it with the evidence will show.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Well, it's not showing anything. I mean,
Right.
there's no evidence in the Koberger case. It's virtually impossible because I actually figured out that for his
Oh, yeah.
phone to ping, come on, you don't even know the case, so you can't say, oh yeah. So the phone pinging south of Blaine, or right near Blaine there, he could not have driven over to that park, the Wawawe Park, and then have his phone ping back in Moscow or in Pullman, Washington at 5:25. Because I actually drove the exact route and got it. It was perfect timing. As soon as you cut across drive, I showed up right when it'd be 5:25 in Pullman, Washington. And if you drove way over to Wawawe Park, you wouldn't have been able to get back there in time. So it just doesn't make any sense, no matter how they try to spin it. Come on.
Well, and you're right. I know nothing about the case. This is a defense attorney, deception attorney who. So
Yeah, well, I don't watch those. I don't want to watch those people. So I wouldn't want.
This is a good one, though.
I don't want you to. I know, but I don't want you to recommend somebody that I haven't watched on here. So.
I understood. No, so but the point is that's why I'm saying that he would. At least he said that this is why they will say the evidence will show. They're not able to say I truly believe my client's innocent. That's why they where Osbert could say. He'd go on and say, well, two other attorneys that took on this case when they were kicked off for a little bit, they think he's innocent. So we think, it's kind of the lingo and the strategies of defense attorneys. So,
yeah, they're not saying, well, it's weird though, in the Delphi case, they went beyond that though. They'd say, man, normally I've never had a case where I felt like this guy is factually innocent. And they make it sound like, and what else is a defense attorney going to say? Well, you guys, there are cases that I think are factually innocent, but this one I don't quite feel as strong as that. So, I mean, of course they're going to say these things. It's ridiculous, but I think Richard Allen's attorneys know that he killed the girls. They absolutely know that he did, but they thought, well, it's kind of weak. So, and they sold Richard Allen a bill of goods. He wanted to confess. He wanted to do the right thing. But again, he's selfish. So at the very end, he decided to change his mind based on the opinions of other people who said that they could get him off. And they were wrong. Okay. So this is what the judge saw from the beginning, in my opinion. And he knew that these attorneys were just trying to sort of make a name for themselves and, do whatever they're doing. And they weren't really looking out for Richard Allen. Because you can see this. I'm telling you, I've said this since the day the probable cause, not the day of, because I had to figure it out, but I worked through the probable cause, mapped it out, and when that was done, I told everybody, there is no chance he's not Bridge Guy. This is like the most solid thing I've ever seen. And the judge was able to look at all the confessions and everything else on there. And it was just so obvious, right? And it's weird to me that there's this whole community of people out there saying stuff like, well, I think he's innocent, man. I really do. I think he was railroaded and stuff. Well, what are you looking at? I mean, it's like they haven't taken the time on their own, away from the noise, to go through the evidence and put it together, because any rational person would come to the same conclusion that the jury did. That's the truth.
Well, great. They did leave rationality, and there's some points before I found your channel, which I have very recently, but where so to get around that, you've got channels like saying that that they're the reason it can't be him is because maybe there was no proof of life that morning. The girls weren't there that day, and like, whoa, this is like, that's way beyond awkward.
Yeah, well, and I think what Bob Motta always says is, how can you prove a timeline if you don't know the time of death? And it's like, who cares? Oh, look at. Here's the reality of it. Richard Allen's Bridge Guy. We have the timeline all the way up until the Fitbit stop, or whatever, not the Fitbit, but the phone stopped moving at 2:32 and 39 seconds. It stopped moving. Now, whether they were killed right then or within the next 45 minutes, We don't know, but Richard Allen is still the person that got them to go to that area. So it's actually irrelevant. The timeline completely fits in there, and his story explains how he went across the creek and everything. And just knowing the exact time of death is actually, it's not incredibly relevant in this case. I got to be honest.
Well, also on the timeline though, where was the uphill, where they went up possibly two floors of?
Yeah, well, that's the thing, that the 2 steps I think came after. Like, I think it might be when they went up the bank to get up near the crime scene. That's what I think.
Okay, I think so too. If that's what you think,
I could probably get 2 stories though. It's not 2 stories though. That's the thing. So I don't know how accurate that shit is. Like it has to be 20 feet, but it was only like 10 feet, maybe 9.
Okay, because I think I could go there and fill that for you. But the point is then, so once they're up that and they did that, then how quickly were they killed after that? Like that's the timeline I kind of want to know.
Well, I'm not sure if I believe the theory of the the state in terms of, like, they think that they were killed the moment that Fitbit stopped, or not the Fitbit, the phone stopped moving. That is the moment that they were both being killed. I don't know if I believe that. I think the phone, it was just in the same position, and I don't know if, like, how that worked, but because 2:32, what the hell was he doing for the next hour? If he's really the muddy and bloody guy, what was he doing for the next hour? Like, just taking pictures, or I think what happened was he was doing what he was actually going to be doing, and they were whatever he was going to do, he did it over there, and then the phone is just an anomaly. It didn't move again. And what the explanation for that is, I don't know exactly. Just like there's other things that you don't know unless somebody told you what happened. But you have, I think it was when Cheyenne was crossing the bridge, perhaps they also made him nervous because they were talking, and they were on the far end of the bridge, only about 180 yards away, and he could probably hear them. And probably freaked out in the middle of putting the sticks on him and took off. Or maybe, I don't know what he was doing. Maybe it was after he killed them, he spent time hanging out around them. That's definitely possible.
Well, one of the things that so I've heard is that which you would probably know way more than me, is that some of these people, Ted Bundy, that it's a sexually motivated crime, but just because there was not sexual I'll say SA or whatever that happened, that it didn't mean that was not an SA motivated crime. So what if, because obviously things happen, so what if he intended to, and then he could not perform the way, and then what if after was he tried to cover them up, and then
so you got this Giuseppe guy said, "I'm sorry, man, I'm not saying he didn't do it." They only put it on the screen. "I'm sorry, man, I'm not saying he didn't do it, but how is the time of death not relevant when searchers were in the area when they were supposedly there?" No, they weren't, though. That's what they keep lying to you, saying that the searchers were on top of them with flashlights. That's Rick Snay and his merry band of wackos. They tell you that kind of stuff all the time. They weren't there at the time. And nobody even said that at trial either, that they were right there,
I wondered that too.
And they're looking for live people too. They're not looking for bodies on the ground.
So yes, I've been out there and I wondered that too. Everybody was starting from downriver, about a mile out. So a lot of people didn't go up or whatever, up creek.
Yeah, and also, why would they? They knew the girls were on the southeast side of the bridge, so why would they go across the creek? I've been there too. I almost made it right to the crime scene. I was probably, I was just looking at it yesterday and these other photographs. I was really close. I was probably 50 yards away.
Did you go down the ravine?
Yeah, I went down that steep ravine, then I walked another 40 yards, and then I stopped because there was these. Kelsey told me that there were poison ivy or oak or something down there, and I had shorts on, and there was all these like weeds on the ground, so I kind of just stopped right when those weeds started.
But
So.
at the ravine, that's where you could also logically then walk right into the water. So I falsely thought that maybe they ran across the sandbar and went.
Yeah, well, that's what I originally used to think, is that they made it down to the shallow area so they didn't have to climb up. But I think they did have to climb. They were made to like climb up right there.
I think
That
so.
part would have been hard. That part would be a little bit more, I guess, if like how maybe let one go up first and then you go up and help the other one, but you still have a gun on him. I'd like to see how that played out. That part.
Then
I mean,
I can send you a video and then you can make it a reenactment of it, because it is almost like
I've seen it.
I have climbed up it and it was not that hard, but you're right. So at some point, like, I mean, there had to be some point where they weren't that terrified, or otherwise they wouldn't have just climbed up. So then I think they kind of were still trying to.
Well, I think they were always absolutely petrified, in my opinion.
Yeah, but
when you say, how high was it over your head, the top of the bank? Like from the bottom up.
I had to grab a tree, climb up.
Mm-hmm.
It was very.
But like it's like about 8, like 9 feet, maybe 10 feet.
I could, if I was because I walk the creek so that I don't trespass. There's no way I could not have seen them at all. So to get to that spot, I didn't even want to go up that spot where I really think they crossed. It was total. But I think that's exactly where they went.
Well, the measurement's like about 7 feet using this. The water level to the top of the bank. I'm using Google Earth, and it's looks like it's 559 feet, and then the water is 551, so maybe 8 feet.
But you could go.
Well, downstream you can just walk up there, but I'm just saying if you go straight across, it's kind of a bank. Yeah, there's photographs of a guy walking on top of it out there.
I wonder I still wonder exactly where that was. No, because the one spot that if I went right across and grabbed that tree, that was higher than I ever expected it to be ever.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought, like, oh, why would the girls do that? It's like, well, because so then I guess the thing is maybe they did that, and then after that it was like a blitz attack, like.
Yeah, but I mean they're scared out of their minds. They're just doing what he's saying because he's got a gun on him, and maybe he's climbing up with them with the gun on him, and they're all just kind of going together. Or maybe he did have them go down the stream, and a little bit further, and marched them up there and brought them to where they were.
Because now it seems like what you said from the beginning, it kind of adds up.
Which part?
Like exactly what you're showing now, like that the timeline actually kind of adds up to that, because it's like after they had an elevation in their steps, then it was the phone kind of like
stopped moving. And it was, and they say it was like 50 steps or whatever it was, 50 meters, I guess is what they might have had. I don't remember what the terminology was, but from like right here.
Yes.
I think they were maybe like right in this area and then to there. Then but it had a 2-floor elevation change. But I mean, why does that? See, people think everything has to be absolutely perfectly these little computerized programs and stuff like that. I mean, maybe if it was 11 feet, or maybe when they're in the water, they're even lower. So they go up there and it looks like it's 13 feet and then it rounds up to the next full level. I mean, who the hell knows, man?
It was it was a climb.
But the phone never changed after. Well, the defense wants you to believe it was down 2 floors because they want you to go from the end of the bridge down to the private drive, and then somehow somebody picked them up in a vehicle and drove them somewhere, and then out of their absolute genius, they brought him back to the crime scene late in the evening at like 4 in the morning and placed them there, and then killed them both, and then thought, I wonder if there's some music playing on that cell phone, and then plugged the jack in at 550 something.
And we want to turn this back on to let them know they're here, so we can send the message and make sure all the sticks are written in this alphabetic, like this, because the ruined language. I don't even know what the hell they're talking about. So
The
all the other thing I
runes.
wanted to say is that okay, the sticks were not random. Like, they didn't just fall off trees and land on the girls. Obviously, somebody put them on it. But Richard Allen was in the Army Reserve, right? So if you look back in that week, you learn how to cover a body, or to build a fire, or to build shelter. So you either do like I don't know, a star pattern or a log cabin pattern. So I believe he was beginning to do that, just to cover them.
I just think he was like one big branch, one sideways branch, and then something happened where he got distracted again and left. I think he got distracted twice. I just don't think he brought it up because it's like, yeah, and I covered their bodies with branches and I left. He doesn't say why, you know.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be too that he did it exactly the way it was and he hung out there. He's lying. He's doing something that he didn't want to admit to. You know, because there's a pair of underwear missing and there's a sock missing.
I got it.
So you can kind of use your imagination if he did something
I'd agree with
using those items and took them with him.
I'd agree.
At the crime scene, because they were wondering if he stood away. I remember the initial person that was giving me information said that they were wondering if he sort of stood away from the girls and did something to himself. Right? And so there you go. And then you have a missing sock and underwear. Maybe that was a trophy. I don't know whose underwear it was, but I don't know if they said it at trial, but there's a missing underwear and a sock.
And it sounds so bizarre until I've heard other people talk about how, like, well, Ted Bundy has said a couple times where he's done it multiple times, but his motive was like, well, there's sometimes he went to go commit this crime and something happened where he could not, which I don't even like to say it because I don't think like him, but he couldn't perform, but then he would go back to visit the bodies or things like that. So it's just something that, you know, regular people can't imagine, but you're exactly right. And so then I would like to, which I don't want to think about this or do this, but like the thing is yes, if that was the uphill climb, and I bet that they did that, like not having the full complete alarm yet, and then all of a sudden he just kind of went for them real quick. So no, that's why they would not have any defensive wounds. Like I don't think they thought that was coming that quick, or otherwise they would have really like left. But yeah, it does.
I just think he did something, you know, had the gun on him, got him to be quiet. Libby seems like she really kind of struggled, and you know, I think Abby was really cold, and she might have just passed out from, you know, shock of what's going on, and you know, and then he just kind of punctured her neck basically, and she died slower and was still alive. Yeah, it's just kind of really sucks. You know what, I think what sucks the most out of this whole thing is all these people that are defending a double child killer, trying to figure out how to get him off, because there's no chance that Richard Allen is not Bridge Guy. Okay. He is the person. There is no doubt at all.
So then this is where
because she was stabbed, Giuseppe, and then she was running around, you know, like, oh my God, and she's like bleeding all over the place. That's what I mean by struggle. Yeah.
So,
anyway, go ahead.
This whole crime scene flow is exactly what is the truth. And I have gone down other rabbit holes and I've came back because what other people are believing, though, is that none of this is true. Bridge Guy was an amalgamation. There's corruption in Carroll County. That was all fake. There's no Bridge Guy. There's no Abby photo. And then I had to come back down to like, that's their premise. That's where they're coming from, is that he wasn't even there that day. He was somebody railroaded because of a lot of people think it happened at Wilson Bridge and it was a drug deal gone wrong. I mean, it's just
dumb people.
I know. Okay. Well,
yeah. That's it. All right. Well, hey, we got a lot of stuff done.
All right. You've been brilliant. I love this so much. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for calling in.
Okay.
Appreciate it. All right. Bye-bye. Cool. That was fun. But hey, guys, we only got to about 55% of the goal tonight. Any chance we could have the last minute? If I threw myself in prison, would that help? Would it make you feel better if I got tossed in a jail cell for a while? . 'Cause 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 ' Giuseppe's not trying to be devil's advocate, or I don't even know what you are. You're just kind of you're throwing out stuff that doesn't make any sense. I've explained it 1,000 times. Have you not seen the animation that I made, where it's just he's locked in? He is bridge guy. She struggles at the crime scene. All it means is the knife never hit her hands. That's it. You know, maybe he told them to close their eyes or something. And then he stabs them first, and then they're like, oh my God, and they're grabbing their neck and blood's coming out, and they're near the tree and they're sitting down, you know, whatever, and they're not really fighting with him. And then when she bleeds out more, then he does some more stabbing. Like she probably wasn't even really conscious when he was doing that. Yeah, these guys are crazy people. You know, there's this guy named the Prof. He is a verifiable lunatic. All right. Now his people and viewers think he's so on to something, and they're probably watching right now. Hey, did you hear what Gray said? And I even sort of don't even want to mention the name because I don't want anybody viewing any of the crap he puts out there. Now, here, I'll show you right now, Giuseppe. See, since you haven't seen it, hold on a second. I'm going to do it again. Yeah, you have your own questions, but they're not good questions. You know why, Giuseppe? Because they've all been answered many, many times and have perfectly reasonable answers. You just don't want to accept them. That's where the problem is. You're not willing to go, oh, I see. Once you realize that Richard Allen is bridge guy, all the other stuff just falls into place. Now, is there another person at the crime scene? I guess we don't know, but he is there for certain. And you also would wonder if there was another person at the crime scene, wouldn't he have said something? And by the way, there's no information whatsoever that there was anybody else at the crime scene. But you can believe whatever the hell you want. You know, 1 + 1 does equal 2. It's not 11. It's not 1 isn't a variable that you can assign any amount to. Well, I say 1 is a variable. ONE equals 1.5. So when I add the two ones together, it's 3. Oh, okay. I get it. I never live chatted before, like 2 days ago, so I'm new. Oh, okay. Well, here, I'm going to show you this, Giuseppe. And when we're done with this, when I show you this thing, this animation, it's really, it's not like a video animation. It's an animation that I have in 3D Studio Max right here. All right. So watch it. You watching, Giuseppe? Are you watching? Well, you're not deep diving though. You're watching people who don't know what they're talking about. The jury was 12-0. My channel was 12-0. Okay. So that's what you should be watching if you're trying to do a deep dive. The people actually figured it out and know what they're doing. All right, so check it out. Here we go. Can you see it? There was 4 girls represented by the 3 spheres here because one of them was really young. I guess 2 of them were kind of younger. But all right, you see that, Giuseppe? So they actually started off over here at the Freedom Bridge at 12:25 and made their way, and at 12, so it was 12:25, and then 12:43, they took a picture at the bridge over here, right? Those 3 girls. And then at 1:26, they were at a bench right here. So during that other time, they were walking around. They didn't see Richard Allen, so he wasn't there from 12 to 1:30 like he claimed. And Betsy Blair also proves that he wasn't there from 12 to 1:30. So at 1:26, they're at a bench. Now watch. See that there's a black car. Can you see that on the screen there, Giuseppe? That's a car matching the description of Richard Allen's black 2015 Ford Focus with particular see-through rims on it. And then he backs into an old building, just like he said. Then those 3 girls, there's actually 4, but he sees 3 of them. They're walking like this. And Richard Allen says after he got to the Freedom Bridge, he passed 3 girls because he only saw 3 of the 4. And those same 3 girls said they saw him. And the law enforcement's known that since the beginning. They just didn't know the guy that they passed until Richard Allen came forward and said, yeah, I passed those girls. So we all can agree right now that that's Richard Allen, right? Because his car drove by at 127, the Hoosier Harvest store, a car matching the description of his. He said he got there from 1:30 and he left at 3:30 in his original statements to Dan Doolin. After he called the tip line, when he turned his tip in, he said he was there from 1 to 3. But then when he told Dan Doolin, actually got him to say it was 1:30 to 3:30. You still watching, Giuseppe? So this proves that he got there at 1:30. So here's Richard Allen, and he said he went to the bridge. Well, it takes 11 or 12 minutes to walk to the bridge. So he would have passed these girls after getting out of his car at about 1:28, probably 1:33-ish, and then about 11 or 12 minutes to get to the bridge. He'd be at the bridge at 1:44. Okay, now watch this. The red car right here is Betsy Blair, who goes underneath Old State Road 25, looks up, and sees those same 4 girls walking across at about 1:45. Then she drives around and passes the Hoosier Harvest store at 1:46, gets out of her car probably at 1:47, and then she heads down to the Monon High Bridge. Now look at Richard Allen just got there. Look at boom, and she gets out. Now he would have no time to have ran by where she wouldn't have seen him. And so she goes to the bridge, and there he is, Richard Allen. She's 111 feet away. She sees Richard Allen standing on platform 1, exactly where Richard Allen said he was standing, looking at the fish. Okay? That's exactly where he was standing. So after Betsy Blair sees him, her description, just like the girls, is a little different. But when they saw a picture of the bridge guy from Libby's phone, they all said, yes, that's the person I saw. And so then Betsy Blair turns around, and on the way back, halfway back, she passes Abby and Libby, who had just got dropped off. So watch. Here's Betsy Blair, gets out of her car about 1:47, and then 1 minute later, the girls are dropped off by Kelsey, and then she passes the Hoosier Harvest store at 1:49. Right? So, and they went to the Monon High Bridge. So it absolutely is a fact that Betsy Blair went to the bridge, turned around, and passed Abby and Libby. 100% factual, even fits her Fitbit information. Now, guess what? Those girls now have to run into Richard Allen, who's standing right there on platform 1. Now, he says he never saw them, but he had to have seen them. And so what he did, likely, is walk back a little ways after seeing them, and he watched and waited so he could see both directions. And he watched to see if anybody was coming. Then, after the girls, Abby and Libby, made it about 2/3 away across the creek, he followed them across the creek. And then in his own confession, he said that he ejected a bullet around in this area. And then he had the girls go down the hill, and he was going to assault them back over in this area here. But then a white van drove by on this white road right here, and it scared him. So he took the girls across the creek where he killed them over here, covered them with sticks, and he did it because he was selfish and wanted to protect himself. He said that he tried to kill them in a way where they wouldn't suffer. Then he walks out this way, and apparently walking this direction, he passes Sarah Carbaugh in her vehicle. All right, does that make sense though, you guys? So how is Richard Allen has to be bridge guy? He is the person that took him down the hill, matches everything that he said in his confession. False confessions are usually, there's information that you can discount, but not in his case. All right, thanks, Giuseppe. I'm glad you're on our side now. Thank you very much. But Gray, what if this other guy looked just like him and hopped out of the woods and then he went the other direction? Oh, Jesus. Here we go. Here we go. Yeah, it's absolutely 100% logical, and that's based on the information that was given at trial. So there you go. There you go. Anyways, I got to get going, you guys. We're dead as a doornail. Appreciate you all being here, helping support the channel, the ones that could. But getting kind of late, and I can go work on something else. So I appreciate it, and thank you to who do we got here? Hey, thanks Jessica Schubach. Thanks to Cindy Lynn, Employee of the Month, Chicken Wing, Poppy, new member, Cheryl Bullock, Sammy Day gifted a membership, Jim Lawn, Bama Girl 41 gifted one. Actually, I'll do them over here. Here we go. So Cindy Lynn. But Gray, why are psychic? Employee of the Month. Hi, Gray. I'm too shy to call in. What do you call it? Let's see. And then it says Chicken Wing said, thank you, Gray, for making videos for us, even when it's hard. Yep. And then Poppy became a YouTube member. Then Cheryl Bullock. Then Sammy Day. Then we have Jim Lawn. And Bama Girl 41. Zozo 57 months, man. That's like 5 years almost. Then K-Me. What are your thoughts on item 4? Yeah, we went over that one. Then K-Me again. Then, or actually, yeah, and then Sunshine Susie. I don't think we have the answer what really happened. Wonder Woman 77. L Waters. When it's stated that they have 0 DNA, can you clarify? Yeah, I mean, I've answered all these questions. Then we have, Ozzy Trisha, then Cindy J, then DM, then L Water, Super Sticker, Mike Fitzpatrick, the Rad Story, then Karen Morrison, Rad Story again. Gray always bring a smile on my face. Appreciate you. Well, thank you. Susie Sandpiper, then Karen Morrison became a member. Then Alex gifted 5. Thank you. I wish I could have gifted 5, but weren't even close. Michelle H. Then Lisa Valenzuela. Juliana, for your hard work, time, dedication. Well, thank you. And then Jessica Schubach, super sticker. All right. Well, anyways, thank you guys very much for being here tonight. We will see you tomorrow. I'm not sure what we're doing with Blue, but like I said, I think it's getting, he's still eating and stuff, so it's kind of hard to be like, And usually when dogs don't eat at all, I mean, he was eating then throwing up, but we haven't seen him throw up today. So I don't know. I think they were saying that he has to, if he eats a certain medicine, here's what sucks is you can't tell a dog, hey, listen, if you eat this medicine and this one, you won't be nauseous. So you'll be able to eat. So they just go, I'm nauseous, I'm not eating. And then it's like, okay, but then that's sort of you can't, how do you get out of that cycle? Yeah, kind of sucks. Yeah, he just doesn't eat. He just eats what he wants to eat now. If you bring him, sometimes he wants to eat a Baconator. He doesn't eat any dog food or like basic, if you want to give him some rice or something. But today he ate some chicken, like a whole bunch of chicken. We'll see how, I don't know. I don't want him to keep feeling the way he's feeling. He just pretty much lays around all day. He doesn't play. There's no laugh, there's no joy or anything, really. Now look at, any comments made that didn't align with Gray's theory are deleted. Any comments made on how he speaks to people are deleted. Can't come in here with a different opinion without being called shitty names. Well, you are a shitty person, Nurse KB. That's just a fact, because the fact that you would come in here and make bullshit comments like that shows you exactly what you are. Unless you're explaining to somebody what they are saying. I don't know what you're saying. You might be responding to somebody. Yeah. We don't delete comments if they disagree. And I've told people not to do that. It's people who make nasty comments when they're disagreeing. If you notice, Giuseppe's comments have all remained on the screen, haven't you? Right? Every single one of them. Nobody deleted one. Right. Idiots can't. Right. There you go. Yeah. That's just another one of those trolls that show up and they say, see, look at... It's that passive-aggressive attitude. When somebody says something and then you respond to them and they try to make it seem like you're the one that overreacted. It's insanity, you guys. And people, the truth is I treat people well here, okay? The trolls I don't treat well, and so there's this narrative out there. And sometimes I'm not in a great mood, but we're just, it's okay, Like if when somebody makes a comment, I go, that's ridiculous. That doesn't mean like, oh, I hate them, and we're mad at everybody now. It's just strange, man. The people, they want to be coddled like a little baby on all the channels they go on. Like all their ideas are the greatest idea on the planet. And wow, that is a great sales technique, right? To make everybody feel like they're just the most incredible. I'm actually trying to figure something out in these cases. So I like to weed through the noise. And a lot of stuff that people say is just noise, like first thing, they always have these almost cliches when you talk about cases. Their initial thought is always like a cliche out of some novel somewhere, and it's just, it's just not. Let's just look at the facts and see where we're at. All right. Well, thanks, L. Waters. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, look at how I'm treated on YouTube. You guys get like 1/100th of any of that stuff. Unreal. Your colors keep showing, and yes, my comment was deleted. I'm not an idiot or a troll. You speak to people like shit that don't agree with you. I think you're a smart man that's really angry. No, I'm not angry at all. I just think people like you are passive-aggressive jackasses, okay? Right. Let's see. It's really scary. I would be in a horrible panic if that happened. Not sure what you're talking about. Right. See, what you're doing is you're trying to put on a performance for your friends, Nurse KB. I don't care. Your opinion doesn't matter to me. I am just being honest. You're somebody that is... you're in here on false pretenses with an agenda. It's really obvious. We see it all the time. That's not true, Gray. I just wanted to Oh, God. No. The truth is when I tell somebody something and it's 100% factual and it makes complete sense and they have a rebuttal with a different opinion that is incredibly unlikely and use no facts, yes, I probably won't sound polite to them. I'll say, that's the most ludicrous thing I've ever heard, and here's why. Listen to this. Oh, that's crazy. Right, like all the mods have seen people like you 1,000 times. You're not new, you're not creative, There's nothing interesting about it. But yes, that comment will be removed too. All right, see ya. Yeah, they want to be really... It's just... Anyone that can't figure this simple puzzle out based on the evidence is an idiot. Scares me. I know. Well, unfortunately, that's how I feel too. Whenever I stumble upon these people talking and you listen to them for 5 minutes, nothing they say is based in any reasonable logic whatsoever at all. As I've said for almost 2 years, or a year and a half minimum, Richard Allen is bridge guy. Okay? There is no doubt. Once you realize that, all the rest of the stuff just makes sense because he is that person. And he even admitted to being that person. But we're all the dummies. We're the dumb people. We're the dummies who the jury agreed with, 12-0. Richard Allen admitted to being Bridge Guy. A bullet matched his gun at the crime scene. He was at the bridge exactly in the time frame that I just showed you in the video. How in the hell can Richard Allen not be that person? It's just so stupid. We are all the idiots, everybody. We are the ones that just couldn't figure out the truth. Welcome, Balsana. I mean, isn't it? Aren't you sick that there's people out there that after everything that's happened, after Richard Allen was proven to be Bridge Guy based on the timeline, he admitted to being Bridge Guy, filling in parts of the timeline, which matched the data on the phone. So the thing is his story that he told was verified in two ways. It was information that only the killer would know, and it matched Libby's phone movements. It matched it because it stayed in that position for 7 or 8 minutes, right in that corner. Then it went across the creek. Okay, so it matched that. Do you think Richard Allen was reading through the documents that closely and saw a pause in the cell phone movement data and said, ooh, I can put that in one of my stories? That's bullshit. Okay? He admits to being Bridge Guy. He begged his family to believe him, but they wouldn't. This is the most clear case in history. One of them, anyways. I mean, it's ridiculous. That's why it's 12-0. And it only took like 19 hours. That means there was a couple of people just going, you know what, let's think. I'm not quite convinced. Convince me on it. You know, and those people, they got there too, you know. So what's weird is when you have these defense attorneys that are listening to the same conclusive information, are looking at it as if they're literally trying to defend Richard Allen in some sort of audition for something. Because there's no way that they're rational, when they're thinking rationally about the case, that they believe Richard Allen is innocent. I guarantee it. There's no way. You'd have to have some screw loose in your head if you're literally a defense attorney that obviously went to school and you have reasoning skills. There's no way that when you're sitting alone in your house that you don't look around and go, damn, he did it. But you know, I've been selling this theory for so long, I just can't let it go. Hey, there's Fig Solves. I just saw him up there. What's going on, man? You see a minimum of 3 to 4 males that look like Delphi killer. Right. Right, but see, are you trying to help them out, Plato? I used to say that. I used to go, wow, a lot of people dress like that. But here's the thing is, how many people were dressed like Bridge Guy at 1:30 on a Monday when everybody's working? He just happened to have the day off. How many other people do you think were there at 1:30 dressed like he was? With blue jeans, a dark blue or black Carhartt jacket, with a hoodie and some sort of head covering, which is a skull cap. Mm-hmm. Right, I think that's true, Fig Solves. I think it's also allows them to have a content stream, the only thing that they're comfortable covering. So if they all said, you know what, I think he did it, and they moved on, ooh, boy, they're stuck. I know that Bob Motta covers others. He tries to, bring up other things. But I think the other ones, like Burkhart and them, Jesus, I mean, what in the hell are they going to be? They're going to switch right over to the Idaho 4 case and start pretending it's like Koberger's didn't do it. Looks like we got another troll there. We got another troll. Divided Kingdom. Can't you just tell by looking at the picture? Let's see. To report Gray as the killer is probably one of the dumbest. I know. There's people that literally think that I'm actually Bridge Guy. Look at you guys. I have the goatee. I could look. You know what? Wait, hold on. Listen. Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Guys, down the hill. Oh my God! It sounds just like it. Let's see. I was sitting over here and I flew there, and then I got home so fast that I was able to talk to friends while in Portland about the case as she was missing. It's amazing how those planes these days. No, I'm well, I used to be 5'11", but I think now I'm 5'10". I've shrunk in my old age. 5'10 and a half. Even if people aren't convinced he's the killer, it's clear he's the one who took them. Right. So that's why the felony murder charge was put in there. Because if you're willing to believe, okay, maybe he's not the killer, you believe that he was the one that abducted them for sure, that led to their death. Yeah, we got all the trolls showing up now. You know how they do it. Help with Richard Allen's defense, huh? Yeah, wouldn't doubt it. What an embarrassment she is. Just disgusting. You know, there's a family that got justice. 12 jurors got it right, and you were completely wrong because you don't know the actual case. You're good at regurgitating what you wrote down in court, but you don't know how to synthesize it together. That's what your problem is, okay? And I think that's a big problem, that there's a lot of creators that are like that. You know, even the one that's name sounds like some sort of a bear that's out there. She doesn't know how to synthesize and put stuff together and tell the story of what the reality is. And I think even if she did know what the reality was, she wouldn't admit it because she knows what side the toast is buttered on. If you believe Richard Allen is innocent, boy, you get this huge, massive crowd of wackos who are just going to be, and reward you with riches. I mean, it's just sick, really. So, anyways, I think I'm going to get the hell out of here, you guys. I appreciate you guys being here. So we'll see you guys tomorrow. And as I always say, until next time, be safe out there. Yeah, I've been doing this true crime thing for quite a while now. And during this whole time, I have not seen one person that is a crime dissector, like rejector. I'm a certified human lie detector. Gonna get ya on a stretcher if you try and play me like an old projector. Crime sector is my nectar. Professor Gray is gonna give another lecture. Crime collector, freak connector, and I'm always gonna be a pup protector. Fool deflector, interceptor, and I'm meaner than a spectre with a vector on his pector. With all respect, y'all, just remember I've a temper fucking check ya. I have no agenda, I'm no pretender, and I'll serve it to you straight without the blender. And in the end, I'm gonna send ya on a mission to reveal the true offender. Yeah, so I'll just get right back to work. All right, everybody? Talk to you later. All right. Thanks, everybody. See you guys later. I thought it was pretty fun talking about stuff. But the support wasn't that great tonight for some reason. Not sure what... is it the type of show where we're just talking about stuff? Or who knows, man? There's always certain things like the press conferences, the when I'm reading a lot, and it seems like when callers call in, those shows do really poorly for me. Why do you think that is? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe you guys can give me an answer for that. Thanks for being here. See you guys next time. And be safe out there.